Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next part of the Pirates of the Aquan. Um, so, uh, previously, as you can see, there's an extra person here. He's going to be joining us for this adventure as well. So, last time, there was a group of pirates hiding out in the middle of the Aquan Sea, in a cluster of islands. One of the islands is the main place where they gather. It's basically just a hollowed out husk of a rock that's slightly above water, and inside is a huge cavern where huge boats can go in and dock, and the pirates hang out in this large cavern. Um, and the beginning of the adventure, uh, well, technically the island is thought to be cursed, so that's why nobody goes there except for the pirates. Um, and technically it was the pirates who spread this rumor, but either way, um, the island is relatively secluded. The top of the island has like vegetation and stuff on it, but the pirates don't go up there. They just go inside the cave opening and then hide their ships in there. There's a huge bay in there, like area, and there's docks and everything inside. Um, and the first thing that happened in this campaign, since it's been a while, was there was a mission that was given to a group of pirates, or technically this one pirate, and he was told to meet on the ship of his captain, which is Captain Bloodbeard, a human with red hair, blazing red hair, huge red beard, um, which is where he got the name from. And he joined his captain on the ship, and he was told by his captain that there is a merchant uh, envoy, perhaps, that was supposed to be passing relatively close to the island, a few miles maybe away from the island. Um, well, more than a few miles, but relatively close. Um, that they could get to the path that it's intersect the path within perhaps a day or two. I don't remember how long exactly because it's been a while. But either way, they went there, they started going there either way, and it turned out that Bloodbeard had a companion that he was getting this information from, and this companion was attempting to hide his identity, and there was the whole. I think this what happened in this one. There was the enchantment mites in the canon.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that happened pretty close to the beginning. And he solved that problem. The reason I'm bringing that up is because he actually caught some, so those are in existence. He can use those possibly for some other use. But however, um, basically they're just little insect-sized living beings that eat magical enchantments, basically. They live off of being around a magically enchanted item, and so they feed off the magic. And they cause whatever's enchanted to become unenchanted until they are removed. Um, so he figured that out, um, and he started following this person around that was being suspicious, that his captain was cohorting with, I suppose, at the time. And he found out that this person was a drow elf that was sort of hiding his appearance and like his his face and everything, so that way people wouldn't recognize him as being a drow. And he was starting to become friends with this person when suddenly he found out that his captain was sort of acting suspiciously, and he eventually found out that this drow elf had some sort of magical spell over the captain and was controlling him with some sort of mind magic. Um, and as a result, he banned or got rid of the mind enchantment, which was actually a living being inside the captain's head. So he had to figure out a interesting way to get rid of it, which I don't remember exactly what he did.
Well, I temporarily turned it off, so to say, so it's still there, but it's currently offline.
Yeah, so it's he still technically has a living creature in his brain, but it's like not working and not doing anything. So basically, it's nullified for now. And the drow elf at least made it seem like he escaped, and then he started getting up to shenanigans within the ship. Um, he was hiding around, spying, um, and eventually he was found out, and he dove off the ship again. Um, and I forget your character's name, but either way,
It's
he
a very
found out.
complicated one. Let's keep it at that.
Yes, it's a very strange name that he decided to choose. But either way, um, he eventually found out that he was basically going underneath the ship, and he had like ice pick like pythons in the bottom of the ship, which was how he dive under the ship and then grab the pythons, so that way he could remain with the ship and hide under the water for a while, and then climb back up. And then he was being very devious either way. And eventually they did get to where the drow elf indicated. Um, and when they did eventually get there, um, it turned out that the ship had some strange things on it, and they were going to quickly attempt to ram their ship, into the other ship, which they succeeded in doing. But then they realized that on the ship was a bunch of undead creatures, and they boarded the ship, took care of the undead, even though some of them were kind of Terminator-esque in how they were dodging and managing to parry and all kinds of weird stuff before being defeated. And he went down below deck, and it turned out the ship was empty. And then he heard the voice of the drow elf telling him that basically it was a trap, and suddenly the ship started rocking and jostling violently, and he managed to escape the ship. And it turned out that somehow a dragon turtle was lured to the ship and destroyed the empty ship, and was attempting to destroy the other ship and managed to kill a large number of crew with a single breath weapon attack. Um, and but luckily they managed to defeat the creature, barely, and they dragged it back to the pirate cove, where more shenanigans from the drow elf happened. However, they managed to get back eventually, and they're now back in the cove. They've been there for about a day, maybe not even that. They investigated one of the other ships. It had some interesting cargo, including a very powerful magical item, which he confiscated, um, without telling anybody, I don't think.
Well, I
Um,
did.
well, you told your captain, I think, but nobody else. I don't think you told anybody else. Like the captain
No.
of the actual ship that you took it from. You didn't tell him about it, I don't think.
No.
So, they went back and sort of tried to formulate a plan to lure out this drow elf. And that is technically what they are in the middle of. The thing that Ben's character would be aware of is possibly that the captain was this Captain Bloodbeard was acting very strange, almost like extremely drunk, and wandered off. And then Geo's character, he went after him a little bit, and then that is all that you've seen, due to the fact that time is currently frozen. So, the only two people who are not currently frozen are Giovanni's character and the drow elf. And the drow elf, I did give you a hint, so I'm going to start off where we were before. You sort of like knocked him back a bit, and you saw a little sparkling something on his belt, which I pointed out as important. So, you are now in the fight, so I'm going to get you to roll an initiative roll. And I can get rid of this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just reroll.
Yeah. And the drow elf is pretty dexterous. Excuse me. Whoops. I am typing in the wrong place. There we go. He's actually a little bit more dexterous than that. So, fortunately, you managed to act first after attempting to deal with him. He got pushed back, if I remember correctly. And you notice this weird thing on his belt that wasn't there before. So how do you wish to interact with this situation? Everyone is frozen around you, like there's somebody stumbling with their drink, and the drink is like frozen mid-air, mid-spill. Things like that are happening around you.
So the thing that I noticed on his belt, I'm going for that, but I'm going to make it look like I'm going to hit him, but then it's quickly snatch for the thing on his belt.
Okay, sure. If you're going to attempt to deceive him in how you're going to hit him, make a deception check.
Oh, God. 13.
Okay. He gets to roll against that. Exactly the same, so roll again.
Bugger. 17.
15. So you manage to deceive him, which gives you advantage in what you're trying to do. So I'm going to say make a grapple check to see if you can grab something from him.
21.
Alright, and he is going to attempt to resist you because he knows that you're going to hit him, so he's still going to be able to resist, but you have advantage, which is what that gave you, that deception. So he is not as strong as he is dexterous, so he's going to choose dexterity.
If you have high strength, don't you have athletics as well?
Oh, bugger.
Yeah, do you have athletics?
Yeah, but it's the same number.
Oh,
same number. I'm not
so
proficient
he manages to notice that you're attempting to grab him, so he knew that you were going to hit him, so he notices that you're trying to grab. Well, he doesn't notice that you're trying to grab because you successfully deceived him. However, he knows that you're trying to hit him, do something to him, and he manages to back far enough away so that way whatever you were trying to do didn't succeed.
Well, if that's the case, then I'm at least going to heal myself because I'm needing it.
Alright.
As a second level spell. That's 12.
Alright.
And then I, keep my distance from him.
Okay. I assume you're in your mech suit?
Yep.
Okay. So,
Oh, no, I only had my gauntlet, that's true.
oh, well, then that's a little different. Just make sure that you keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I think you have a different AC when you don't have your mech suit on.
Yeah, it's
So-
3 lower.
So keep that in mind.
Technically, Cure Wounds is also an action, just saying.
Is it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a healing word, that's a bonus.
Oh.
Ah. So then, do you have healing word?
No, I don't.
Okay. So then, technically, you wouldn't be allowed to do that.
Okay.
So, he is going to. He goes, "Your little trick didn't work."
Did it now?
Well, everyone else is frozen, so your allies can't help you.
That's true, but did my trick really work? Or didn't it?
No. And he decides to run away. So, since you were within melee range, did you move away from him?
Well, I'm at least trying to evade his attack. That's one thing I tried to do.
Okay. So then he's going to attempt to leave your melee range. And he is not using disengage or anything like it, so you do get a chance to hit him.
Or grab him, if you want to grab one.
I'm just going to full-on grab his ass. He isn't going anywhere. I'm just going to grab him by the belt, just rip his belt off even if I can.
Okay. You can give that a go. So, he is definitely going to roll his dexterity against you. So you're going to attempt to grapple him, so that's a athletics, technically.
It's still the same number for me, 21.
Same number. 12.
Oh.
So you manage to grab him, which I will allow you to do something to him as a result of the grab. So what do you want to do?
Grab the thing that I saw sparkle. Anything that's on his belt that seems like it's, giving him time to be with me in this time so sad.
Okay. So you attempt to grab his thing, which you succeed in doing. However, you suffer. Let's see. Wow, 33 lightning damage as it sends an electric shock through your body. However,
Wouldn't it also be shocking him since I am holding him as well? So close circuit.
Technically, it's if it's attempted to be removed by anyone other than him, it damages the person with electricity.
Yeah.
So it would be only you, unfortunately.
But
however, you did remove the item from his belt. He is temporarily frozen. However, another function of this magical item is that it causes enchantments to not affect you, and any enchantments on your person become inert. So, well, not permanently inert, as long as you have the item. So, your watch no longer stops time.
So everything starts to happen, and I get shocked, and everyone just instantly looks towards the center of the problem.
Yes, however, it is still technically his turn.
Yeah, well, my turn. And as I grab that thing, I am down and out.
Okay, you're unconscious?
Yep.
Okay. So here's what's going to happen. You are unconscious. However, you still have that item that caused the time to start again. He notices that time is no longer stopped, and he the reason that I'm saying this is because there is a person who can see this event happening, which is Ben's character. Suddenly, time returns to normal, and you notice two people apparate in the middle of a common walking area, and this dude who was standing next to them was halfway spilling his drink, and in the middle of spilling his drink, which is why you're looking in that direction, suddenly two people appear next to him, and the drink just spills all over both of them. And the drunk pirate just is confused as this drow elf just suddenly pushes him and pushes the drunk guy in the face and knocks him down, and he just looks down at this unconscious person who just apparated out of nowhere, and he just starts looking at this person and starts rifling through his belongings. So what do you do?
Yeah, let him. I have a very powerful thing. Might be a bit cursed now.
I just slowly turn over towards the guy that's looting him, and I ask him if it was his time to die.
The one thing I will say is you do know that we're looking for a drow that's a spy, because the
Yes, I forgot that
currently
part.
on high alert for that.
The area is currently on high alert. There is a drow elf in the area who is currently being looked for. You're not sure why, because the person who told you was getting it third hand, because it was spreading the word out. So a bunch of people just told everybody else, unfortunately. So you know that there's a drow elf that is to be looked for, who's doing suspicious things. So
yeah, that changes it a bit.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll ask him. Well, since you just happened to stumble across here, I guess it's your time to die. It must be fated. As I get up, so I slowly get up and then quickly just run towards him with my hands up.
Okay.
So I have a speed of 45. So I'm a monk.
Yeah, so he just looked over at you talking gibberish, basically, because he wasn't 100% paying attention to you.
Yeah.
He was focused on doing something, so he's just sort of basically doing looting. You've seen
Yes.
looting before. So he's just basically looting this guy who just suddenly apparated out of nowhere. He did as well. So you see him, and he just sort of glances over, realizes that you're coming after him. He doesn't have a chance to do anything yet. So you are next to him. What do you want to do? Or did
Actually,
you not
Punch him,
want
kill
to
him, something.
actually, before I made it to him, would I be able to get an insight in how I think he would react by using my feet? Because I have this feet. I have to roll insight against this deception to get advantage on my rolls.
Oh, okay. Sure, you can do that.
Okay, so
Is
I'll
it an
just
action to use?
yeah. Normally
or...
it's an action, so I would have tried to do it when I was getting up and stuff. If that would have been possible.
Okay, sure. I'll say that technically we can do things a little bit differently since you're just getting used to his character. So go ahead.
Against this deception.
Okay. Since he's a spy, he's pretty good at that, though. So we'll see how this goes. Because that's what he was doing, was spying.
Oh.
Unfortunately, he wasn't expecting anybody to just straight up attack him out of nowhere. So you did succeed in this thing, which gives you advantage against him.
Yeah, until at the end of my next turn. So basically, this turn.
Okay.
And next turn. Because you
So
said
yes,
the end of your next turn.
No, but it used my action, so just one turn, basically.
Yeah, so he's a spy, but he definitely wasn't expecting somebody to just rush him. So you see an opening, and he's like genuinely shocked that somebody is just going to rush him. So
first off, that's a 15 to hit. Does it hit?
yes, that hits him, I think. Yes.
I will need him to make a con save.
Okay, you're gonna try to stun him. You're a
Yes.
monk, so okay.
DC is 14.
Okay. So he's not constitution heavy, so you have a decent chance at this. Unfortunately, he rolls an 18.
I will still attack him again because I have multi-attack, and he needs to make another con save.
Okay, fair.
He fails.
Unfortunately,
He doesn't.
did not make it that time.
Oh yeah, and for my magic item, I did imbue that elemental shroud, the one in the DFC. So that's the necrotic damage.
Okay, so you basically have a weapon that adds necrotic damage. That's fine.
And I will use. Yeah, I will not spend a key to flurry, but I will do one more attack.
Okay.
Yeah, it hits.
Yeah, so he is stunned. So he takes a whole whack of damage.
16 plus 20 is 36 plus 18 is 54 total damage.
That is good, needless to say. Okay. However, he is still standing, so you realize that there is a good reason why people were looking for him. He is powerful, and he is...
Does he look bloodied, or is he not there?
I think he took a little bit of damage in the last one, which I forgot to write down.
Yes, he did.
What I'm going to do is say that he has a third of his hit points missing. You don't know how much that is, but...
Yeah, sure.
So, he has some hit points missing, so yes, he does look bloodied at this point.
I will...
As his muscles are tensing, you just see blood spurting out of his mouth a little bit.
Okay, if with that description, I will not try and stun again, but I will hit 1, 2, 3. No, one more. There we go. 3. 1, 2, 3, and I will flurry of blows if he's still up.
Okay, let's see.
That's 17, 6 plus 16 plus 20, 36 plus 17, 34, 35.
So not as much as the previous round.
53, bleh.
Oh, okay. My calculator is not displaying... Oh, here it is. So 53, you said?
Let me do real quick.
I think 53, yeah.
Plus 10, plus 10, plus 10.
Yeah, it's 53.
53.
Is he still up?
Yes, he is still up, but
so he
looks severely injured, I'll say.
So he took 107 damage currently.
Yes, and that's a third of his health. Missing.
13
also.
hit.
13 does not hit.
Okay.
So he is no longer stunned. But he looks severely injured. And he goes, okay. However, you see in his hand is it looks like a pocket watch. You're not sure what it is, but...
Is he using it or anything, or is it my turn again, or what's happening?
He is in a defensive position. He's hoping that you show mercy.
Okay.
It looks like.
Appearing before me like this means it was fated that he was supposed to die. So I will continue on hitting him.
Okay. Sure. You can. I mean, you can do that. He was hoping that you would be reasonable. However, perhaps you're not. But either way, 22 does hit him, and that is enough to kill him. Do you want him unconscious or just straight dead?
I
We
hit
do.
kill, but I don't brutally finish him. Like,
Well,
it will
would the
take.
message also be that we wanted him alive or did we want him dead? That was the thing.
You didn't say. You just said that there was somebody suspicious and they were to be brought forward. So
And my character wouldn't care if he lived
Yes.
or died. He would let fates decide.
sure, and he can decide for himself even if you were given orders. Either way, something I forgot to do was get his character, Giovanni's character, to make death saving throws, and 3 turns have passed. So, good luck.
Huzzah!
Oh, you're back up to 1.
Yep, so just as you finish the drow elf off, well, knock him unconscious at the very least. It hasn't been determined whether or not he's dead yet. You see the person that was being looted suddenly just go next to you.
Slowly push myself back up and says, "Good job, mate." And I just check for that pocket watch and go like, "Where is my pocket watch?"
I just slowly start heading back to my seat where I was drinking.
I check. I don't check him over. I check the guy that's knocked out over because I know he wants it.
Yeah, so in typical fashion, when someone is punched to death, the things that they are holding sometimes fly out of their hands. Sometimes they don't have death grips on them. Sometimes things do fly out of people's hands. And you notice, like, 3 or 4 feet away, a pocket watch laying on the ground.
I check. I have a perfect image for that thing that I had, so I guess I would know what it looks like.
Yes, it looks like a pocket watch. It's basically like a pocket watch, and it has 3, like, you know, those classic stopwatches that have the little button on the top. It has like 3 buttons on the top, which you can use to have the different functions work, basically.
So I grab it and press to slow time down for if it does, because it works once a week. Then I at least
Unfortunately, your usage has been used up.
Oh wait,
And
it wouldn't working because I still hold that thing that blocks it.
yeah, either way, you used it, and then when it was turned off temporarily, you would have to wait to use it again, unfortunately, in order for it to work. So it doesn't work either way. So even if you took that item off, it wouldn't work.
Okay. So I tie this drow up completely in like, well, hands and feet together because I'm not trusting this guy with even an inch of movement.
The drunk guy that he got pushed over sort of comes to consciousness a little bit, and during the fight he was just sort of stumbling to his feet. And you notice on this guy he has manacles, like arm and leg cuffs, basically.
I'm just going to double the cuffs, like first rope, then cuffs. I'm not trusting these guys with even an inch of movement.
Yeah, so you just take the cuffs from this drunk guy, because he knew that somebody was around, so he was ready with some cuffs. And you just take them off of him and put them on this guy, and he just sort of drunkenly notices that you took them, but doesn't care because he's too drunk and keeps on stumbling down the way. So that guy is no longer there, but he is now manacled. However,
are you rolling death saves?
Yes, that's what I was just about to do, and I would say that it took a few turns for this to happen. So,
yeah, too, and then I'm going to just give him the weakest bit of cure wounds to just bring him back to 1 hit point.
If he's alive first, he already went looting.
If he's alive, I will allow that to happen. However, first he needs to roll. So 1, he nat 1s. So he fails 2 automatically.
Ouch.
And he
Yes.
fails another one, so he is dead.
Yeah.
So you attempt to cast Cure Wounds on him. The magic doesn't gain purchase on anything when you touch him.
And then I just push it onto myself.
All
And
right.
actually boosted this time to level 2 since I need it. That's a 16, so that brings me back to 17.
However, you are in a
Oh, yeah.
giant enclave of pirates, and they do have myriad backgrounds, so you might be able to do something to him to fix
Yeah,
him.
so I just yell out, "We need someone that needs to be brought dead from the dead now."
And there's a few drunk people who are sober enough to understand your order, and you see a couple people that are sitting on like a higher perch than where you're currently standing. They just sort of nod and touch each other, like motion to each other that they're going, and they walk off. So they're probably gonna go get help, basically.
I just wait and make sure that they just hurry the hell up, because if they don't, will be in trouble.
All right. Well, they're gonna do their best, but you don't know how long that's gonna take.
So I just tell everyone that is currently in the room just to watch him, don't touch him, don't loot him, because I will know.
He is,
Because I put
however, dead, but sure, you can do that.
I put the alarm on him, so if someone just messes with him,
Okay, so are you indicating to people that there's an alarm around him?
no, I just don't indicate it. I just leave, and as soon as they
Okay,
try
as
to
soon as
loot
you
him,
start leaving, the alarm spell activates as somebody walks within 5 feet of him.
I can set a specific trigger for it.
Okay, so what's the trigger?
If someone tries to loot him,
Okay, sure. So if somebody comes into contact with the body, then the alarm will activate.
yeah,
Are you using 10 minutes or a spell slot?
spell slot.
Okay.
Okay.
So, but I did indicate if they loot, I will know. So they know if they touch him, they will be in trouble.
And your character's name is Juzai.
Juzai.
Juzai, which isn't that
Yep.
hard, I guess. So I'll try to remember that from now on.
Okay.
So
And after that, I get Redbeard.
Okay.
Tell him that our spiel kind of worked.
Okay. And I guess the cursed captain is your character's name?
Well, not his real name, but yeah, that's what people know him by.
Okay, sure. So I just wanted to know what people refer to you as. So,
And they
just that way I can keep that in my mind.
And they generally stay away from me. Like, I'm just sitting on my own table.
Yeah, the guy that was drunk, that was stumbling past you, with the drink in his hand, he was too drunk to realize who you were as he was passing by. Otherwise, he would have went on the other side of the path. But
yeah, that's fine.
He didn't do that. Which was why it got your attention when they suddenly appeared and everything. However, so you're going to go get Bloodbeard?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as
we aren't that far away. I mean, we aren't that far away actually.
Not too far, no, but you still have to walk to get there, and it might take you like 2 or 3 minutes. But either way, so while that is happening, Cursed Captain, as I'll refer to you as, you notice that there's that happened, and a bunch of people are sort of gathering around this dead body and just sort of sitting next to it, that sort of thing. Do you want to? This guy that just gave you an order is kind of high ranking, if you care about that sort of thing. So he gave an order. Do you want to just continue to sit where you're sitting, or?
I will just look over, and then look back to my drink as long as
Okay.
nobody disturbs me.
Yeah, there's a few people who notice you sitting there. However, they're willing to risk it to obey the order, so they're gonna sit there. But they do notice you, and if you attempt to move towards them, maybe something would happen. But since you're not going to do that, then nothing happens. Um, so, um, we'll go back to Jazai. You find Bloodbeard. He's sort of still pretending to be drunk, and he's sort of laying passed out on a rock.
So I just tap him on the shoulder and say, "We got him."
He immediately stops pretending that he's drunk and just immediately becomes sober looking, and he gets up. So
I lead him. Yeah, go on.
He was just going to say, so where is he?
Follow me, Captain.
All right. So
as I lead him towards him.
Okay. So he
and
starts
then
following
I point towards the one who dealt the finishing blow, the cursed captain, and says, "He dealt the finishing blow, by the way."
He looks over and he goes, "I've heard some stories about you." To the cursed captain. And he doesn't seem scared of you. He just walks up to you.
Yeah, I just look at them approaching, but I don't really do anything.
And he's a sort of a stereotypical looking pirate, like the big regalia, the fluffy little neckerchief thing, a big red beard, a red hair. You recognize him. You've seen him around, and you've heard his name and everything. So he walks up to you and he says, he even pulls up a chair next to you and sits down and says, "So I heard some stories. You killed this guy?"
Well, yeah. I mean, he was fated to die here by my hand. Where else would he show up right in front of me?
All right, and it does appear that he is dead. However, he is still bound, as I can see. And he looks over towards Jazai.
"Don't trust the dead with an inch."
Fair enough, he has tricked us multiple times before. And he just sort of looks over the cursed captain. And he says, "Do you still have a ship?"
It sank, and everyone on it drowned. Well, everyone, but one.
He nods. "Well, you can consider yourself part of my crew." And he sort of just puts his hand on your shoulder.
As he does that, is it? I tell him, "Do you really want your ship to sink that bad?"
Look, just learn to use this. I killed a few people, have a red beard. They called me Bloodbeard. Learn to use it. Scare people.
I mean, that has been working fine for me. I mean, they won't even approach me usually.
Well, that's good for a start, but if you're going to learn to lead again, like you obviously were with the name Captain, you're going to have to step back up. Get on the horse eventually.
Yeah, I did try that, but they ended up drowning again.
Well, I'm willing to risk it. And he just pats you on the back. And he says, "Report to the swimming titan." And he just gets up.
I kind of just finish my drink and think about it without giving him an answer.
Okay. He doesn't know whether or not you're going to, but if you decide to, he's given you the offer. He sees that you're a good fighter.
I'll go there later, but I'll not decide at the moment.
Yeah, that's fine. he sees that you're a good fighter, so he wants you on his crew. You managed to kill a guy that managed to elude his first in command very deftly a few times. So you're considered another contender. So he goes to Jazai and he says, "Thank you for telling me this. You're aware of his story, right?
I am, Captain.
Are you afraid to have him on our ship?"
Well, if the boat sinks, I can at least survive.
That's the spirit. And he looks back and at the cursed captain, and he just sort of wanders off again. He starts walking away. Unless if you have anything to say to him, Jazai.
If you want to have it for information, people are coming to, well, bring him back.
Alright. Though we don't really require a resurrection per se, but I like the idea. And he
That's
starts
why I'm keeping him
walking
bound
away
as well.
as you see a pirate person in Seth regalia. Like he has like a robe of Seth and everything. And the Bloodbeard actually stops when he sees this person walking by, and he hops down from the upper area that he was on, gets down next to the dead body, and he goes.
So
He looks to
before
you and he goes,
yeah.
"Do you really want to waste a diamond on this fucker?"
I removed the bell. He has more info than we might know, and we do want to know who is sending spies to us.
Well, if all you want is information, I can speak with the dead.
Well, you could do that. Let's see how much it will bring us.
Alright. He pulls him into a, like, on his knees with the manacles tied around him. And he goes, "Speak," as he waves in front of his face, and a dark magical aura appears around his face, and then goes into his body. And then you just see him go. He doesn't breathe or anything, but his head moves as he looks towards the person who is now communicating with him. And he goes, "So what do you want to ask him?"
Who sent him?
He grabs him by the throat and he says, "You are dead, but I can always bring your spirit back whenever I wish. Is that understood?" And that doesn't count as a question. It nods. And he goes, "Alright, so who sent you? Answer it to him." And he turns his face towards you. And he goes, "A powerful entity sent me here."
That isn't who. I asked who. Names, guilds, divisions, anything.
He goes, "It can do the same thing as this priest." And it's basically saying that it can bring his soul back and destroy it if he betrays it.
That would narrow down our search.
And the priest says, "Next question."
Why was he sent here?
"Why?" And the body begins to unnaturally crack and snap as the joints are moving in an unnatural contortion as he finally coughs up the answer. And he says, "To destroy the competition."
He just holds a moment and says, I think I know who that might be. Hold on.
And the dead body the face contorts into an almost desperate look and says, "Please, the information wasn't from me."
Yeah, also, I don't know if you know, but the person who is risen doesn't have to speak the truths. He just has to answer. And what he answered.
With the threat that his soul could be
Yeah.
revived and then destroyed, he was willing to give truthful answers.
I'm just saying so you're
Yeah.
aware. That's all.
Yeah. So he says, "We got 3 more questions if you want to use them." Because he's of sufficient level where he can ask 5 questions. So. Do you have any more questions for him? I assume you might be muted.
My bad. As did he bargain his soul? That was the question I have.
If the entity bargained for his soul, is that what you
Yes.
said? Okay. He goes, "No."
Well,
The
then he
price
doesn't.
wasn't his soul.
Well, then he doesn't mind if we just play around with him a little bit, does he now?
The body turns towards the person who has risen him, and he goes, "Do you have any other questions?"
Well, nothing that I can think of, but just tell him that he should hang around a little bit. Because we might need him later.
Well, the spell only lasts so long.
That's
I can bring him back with the spell again, but it's
let
risky.
Let me think of a question. Oh, how do we help the cat from, well, the brain thing parasite?
Oh.
I don't know what it is.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's basically in old editions of D&D there were things called brain worms that could affect people. It's basically that, except I've more modeled it on if you guys have played Plague Inc., the brain parasite in that game that you can take over the world with. Yeah, it's that basically, and it's got like little tendrils in his brain that allow for him to be controlled by this creature.
So the question is, how do we remove it? Because I don't think the captain wants to keep that thing in there.
This time he sort of side grins on his pale face for a drow, which is kind of still dark, but it's lighter than it was before. And he goes, "You ever heard of brain surgery?"
Here and there.
He just grins. Apparently that's his answer.
Well, if that's the whole answer, then let's make it a final question then as well. Will the brain surgery be with risks? I guess so.
Is that your question to him?
Oh, I just converse that with the cleric or whatever he might be.
Yeah, the cleric goes, "Cutting open someone's head usually doesn't end well, but as long as you have someone there to heal what you've done afterward, it shouldn't be too bad."
Well, now imagine that plus removing something that's in the head that shouldn't be there and it's controlling the person that's currently, well, that would be kind of risky.
Yes, even with a cleric, he might bleed out, or the brain might move into an unnatural location, preventing him from being raised. He shrugs.
Yeah, so we need to do a lot of precautions.
He nods.
I know something. Is there some tool that can help us with the brain surgery that he knows of? I mean, a spy would need to have something to undo certain things, right?
The priest turns to him and sort of grips his hand, even though he's not touching him, and the body goes. And then he goes, I am not a surgeon, but I would say something sharp enough to break bone.
Yeah, that's the obvious thing. I was questioning more like a tool to hold the thing in place that would lessen risks.
Well, might I suggest a metal brace that you place on the head after the scalp is removed?
Could work.
And after that, since he has sufficiently answered the question, the spell fades as he goes and just flops back lifeless on the ground.
So I just pick him up by the chains of the manacles that just keeps them together. You know those prison chains that keeps hands and feet together?
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I just grab it by the chains and lift him up.
All right. You pick him up.
I think we're gonna need this one later, don't we? If things go, well, south, so to say.
The cleric shrugs and says, well, if you want me to do that spell again, it gets riskier the more times you attempt it. On the same being, that is.
I have no doubt about it.
'Cause sometimes other things can attempt to intercept the soul if they realize you're attempting to do this over and over and take its place.
Yeah, that could be a thing.
Demons can basically uh, just take the soul, move it aside, and then go in instead and pretend to be the thing and then resurrect it as like a demon-possessed zombie or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I will relay this info to the captain. I mean, he does want to have this thing removed. I have no doubt about that.
Captain Bloodbeard is standing there and he goes, well, as long as it's inert, I assume it won't do anything. Technically, it is disenchanted, so it has no magical... like, it's a creature that is made of magic. So it's there, but in order to bring it back, somebody would have to know, first of all, that it's there, and second of all, activate it again.
Yeah. Well, if you say so, Captain, I just want to keep, well, risks to a low. But your choice, after all.
He goes, as long as I don't get, I don't know, gangrene or something from it, I'll be fine.
I doubt that.
Or sepsis. That was the one I was thinking of, sepsis. Which is when a weird thing is in your body and your body tries to fight it off but can't. Then your body can die from it, basically. Because you can't defend against anything else.
Yeah.
But he's willing to wait and see for now. Considering cutting his head open isn't high on his priority list.
Yeah, I have no doubt about that.
So, what do you want to do? Do you want to go back to your workshop? Or technically you don't have a spy in your midst anymore. So you can rest for a while if you wish.
I'm just going back to my workshop and, well, just sleep there, because I'm tired.
Fair enough, you have 1 hit point.
No, I have 17 hit points.
Oh yeah, because you healed yourself, but
yeah.
Other than that, you have almost nothing. So I'll say that a little bit of time passes unless if you want to just leave right away, like the Cove.
Well, I'm just going towards my workshop, lock the doors, making sure that no one can get in or anything can get in.
Okay, fair enough. So
And once I'm in, I just make sure that I hide the pocket watch in my secret vault, so to say. There's my secret stash for stuff that I find.
Okay, sure. So it's hidden. I'll say 2 or 3 days pass before the Captain Bloodbeard would actually want to leave of his own choosing. So it's up to you guys what you want to do in that time, if anything.
The only thing I do in that time, as far as I know, is go check out what he wanted. Like,
Okay. So yeah, it's a huge ship with blood red sails. The Swimming Titan, it's called. So you head over there. And you've been on a ship before, and you know where the captain's quarters are, so you can go there whenever you want.
yeah.
Alright, so I assume you do so. You
Yeah.
open the door, and you see him sitting there working on some nautical maps.
Okay. Just watch.
Okay, so it takes him a couple minutes before he notices you. And he sort of... It looks like he's using things like, I think it's called a sextant? I'm not sure. It's one of those
That
things.
triangle thing, like, yeah, I know what I mean.
Yeah, and he's sort of like plotting distances between different places, and then drawing lines between those places. Different things like that you notice him doing. And then he was about to grab another map that was nearby, so he looks up sufficiently enough to notice that you're there, and then he goes, "Oh, Captain!" And he sort of sits up straight in the chair. So, you decided to join my crew, huh?
Well, I had nothing better to do. If it's your fate to sink to the bottom of the sea, then who am I to stop it?
He nods. I'm sure that it won't be your fault if the ship sinks. I assure you. He smiles.
Okay, I just keep looking at him with no, like, expression.
Alright, he goes, "So, I already have a first mate, so you're kind of gonna get a downgrade from captain."
That is just something they call me. My name
He goes,
drowned with the first crew.
he goes, "Alright, I guess you're a little still sore about that, huh?" And he's just sort of attempting to be empathic, but probably not succeeding. And he goes, "So, you could be my second mate. I haven't appointed one. No one really on my crew that was powerful enough or lasted long enough. So, you're pretty seasoned and apparently quite strong. So, second mate it is."
I just nod. Don't give away too much.
Okay. He goes, "Well, we're gonna set sail soon, within a couple of days. Gather your belongings and
I have
come
them
up."
all on me, and you see that he sees that I have barely anything on me.
He goes, "All right, all right. You do have more spacious quarters that hasn't been claimed yet. I did lose a third of my crew on my previous adventure, we'll say. So there's quite a few empty beds, and I've been recruiting a few people here and there, but there's still a relatively spacious one available, and it's yours.
Very well.
May as well get acquainted with the crew, unless if you're... And then he realizes that you might be afraid that they're just all gonna die. So he goes,
why don't you make or insight check on me?
okay, sure.
Yeah, I just don't. I'm not like worried or anything about it. I've long accepted that my crew died, but I don't see the point in introducing myself to everyone because I think they will die. That's the thing.
Okay, so he goes, well, let me just say, and he sort of gets up, his elbows on the desk with his hands like this, and he goes, let me just say, I've told everyone that you've been coming, so they already know you're here. It was just a formality. But if you wish, you can tell them your expertise, so that way they know where to put you.
Well, I started as a deckhand, or became first mate and then captain. That would be my experience, I guess. Mostly fighting.
Ah, okay. Well, I do need another boatman, which is just somebody who does different things on the deck.
Yeah.
Like raising sails and anchor and that sort of thing. But really a boatman can change roles fairly easily. Like if, say, the person who normally raises the anchor gets shot, and you're in the middle of a storm or something, and the anchor slips or something.
Yeah, sorry. From the looks of what I've seen on the ship coming here, like I've just looked aside because I'm perceptive, and from trying to gain from what he wants, could I like try and do an insight check to see what role he wants most?
Okay, sure. Yes, you are well aware of what he wants you to do, which is protect him from things that are going to try to kill him. Though he hasn't said that specifically. That was part of the reason why he just instantly recruited you, because he knew you didn't have a ship that you belonged to, because he asked you whether or not you still had a ship. And he does have other roles that need filled, like he just said, boatman, who is somebody who's very versatile and can fill any other role. Other than that, he just wants you to, if there's a fight, like mostly what he wants is if a fight crops up, you're gonna help fight, and that's just what you're gonna do.
Okay, so I'll say to him, from what I see, it seems like you mostly need a bodyguard.
He goes, you noticed that, huh? Well, I already have one, but better to have two. Technically,
Well,
that's what his first mate is his bodyguard, basically.
I can do that for you, but I cannot stop fate if you're meant to die.
He goes, I don't expect you to stop fate, I expect you to stop people. And he smiles.
Yeah, people aren't too hard to stop. It's the sea that's the problem.
He goes, well, I don't expect you to control the sea, so do what you will. The ship leaves in, I'm hoping, 2 days.
Okay. So yeah, I'll just head to the front of the ship and start looking out to sea.
Alright, so yes, you are technically still in, you're docked next to a dock, obviously. That is one of many docks that are inside a large cavernous area that you've been spending a lot of your time in recently.
I'll look towards the exit of the cave, though.
Yeah, and you can see the water outside, and it's bright glow, but you can still see water out there. And make a d20 roll, just a d20.
Just a d20, sure.
Yeah, just to determine what you see specifically.
I crit. Best crit.
The ocean seems relatively calm at the moment. And perhaps this gives you a bit of optimism. That's up to you.
Yeah, okay.
Because your character is basing a lot of things on fate, so since you got a natural 20, it's really calm out on the ocean at the moment. So it might be a sign.
Yeah.
Either way, Juzai, you are called from your workshop. Someone knocks at the door, and then you answer the door, and the scene happens, and you are called back to the ship. And this time, Donovan, which was the coke addict, which I forgot to bring up because he wasn't that important, that you managed to save his life twice in 2 ways. You prevented him from coming on the journey when he was obviously like having an overdose, and you threw him on shore, and then people were going to just dump his body and steal his stuff, and you prevented that from happening as well. So, you managed to save this guy's life, and he's not used in a while, like about a week or so. So he's coherent now, and he doesn't have as many sores on his back or body as he did before. Because apparently he was using some bad drugs and getting like diseases and stuff from it. But he's looking a bit better now. And he's just sort of walking around on deck if you want to talk to him at all. I think you're muted if you're talking. Either that or you're not there, which he's not there. So I explained all that for nothing.
Well, now I know about the Coca-Cola addict.
Yes, he is very much so. He's a needle in the arm kind of guy, or whatever they do. Snorting, that's the one. Snorting. Yeah, it's technically not cocaine, but it's pretty much that. Yeah, so you notice a guy who's walking around that has like drug sores on his body, basically. Like a disease that's commonly spread throughout druggy communities is obviously apparent on this guy's body.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard his voice.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, you're here now.
Yeah. Just when I get back, switching machines.
Oh. Okay. Well, I'll explain that later.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll be right back.
Sure. Alright, so, I'll say that you guys start departing.
Yeah.
Since your character doesn't really care where they're going, you're just going somewhere.
Yes.
So you're out on the ocean. You notice, I'm gonna let you role play a little bit while we're waiting for him to come back.
Sure.
You notice that there are still a few people on the ship who are aware that you're on the ship and are avoiding you. However, that you know from the story that them avoiding you on the ship isn't going to matter when the ship sinks.
Yes.
So, you notice that there's people that don't care that you're on the ship. But there are people who are actively avoiding you. Like, whenever you come down to the mess hall, there's an obvious group that as soon as you walk in the room, they leave the room, that sort of thing. So, do you wish to talk to these people?
He would probably not be too concerned about talking to them at the moment. He would just look out towards the sea and see if he finds anything. Like kind of like look out, but not in the lookout tower, just on deck.
Okay. Yeah, so you're not in the crow's nest. You're just standing on deck seeing if you see anything.
Yeah.
I'll get you, for the first day at least, to make a perception check.
Perception.
No, you don't notice anything other than normal ocean waves. Like, you don't see a huge storm or anything like that. That would be easily seen. So seems like the boat hasn't sunk yet, so it might take a little while for fate to intervene, but
It seems like this either it's the still before the storm or this journey will be safe.
yeah. So it's not like a huge kraken is appearing or anything. So it's smooth sailing for the moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll say about afternoon time. There's that group of people who was avoiding you for the better part of about a day if you were on the ship for a long time before that, like if you were on the ship within those 2 days, um, they would have been doing the same thing during that time. And at this point, they decide to approach you.
Okay.
Or at least a couple of them do. And there's a huge group behind them, like maybe 10 guys in total, and like 3 of the 10 approach you. And they go, "We're not going to let you sink our ship."
What are you suggesting to do about it?
And as you turn around to look at them, you see them, like, one of them's cracking his knuckles, the other one has like a sword, and another one has like a musket in his hands, pointed at you.
I don't think you'll be able to kill me, but if you are, then I welcome your try. However, what will happen is the 3 of you will die and get tossed in the ocean, I tell them. Very calmly.
Alright, roll an intimidation.
Do I get advantage on it?
Yeah, since you technically do have some real world evidence to back you up, like 2 dead
Because it
trees.
was 6. I am terrible at charisma. I have 8 charisma because he was not very people person.
I assume that you are like an old grizzled sailor type looking.
Yeah.
They assume that you're an old grizzled man, whereas you are really a powerful fighter, or warrior, I should say. Fighter is a class, but anyway. And they don't seem perturbed, and the guy with the musket sort of just motions with the bayonet on the end of his gun, and he says, "We'll see what happens when you're in the ocean."
If you wish to be thrown in the ocean, then so be it. I quickly try. Let me think. What would I try to do?
Probably the closest thing to you is the musket barrel. So if you want to do that, you can try to do something with that. But that's up to you.
Peekaboo.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay, so in that case, I will. In that case, I will. I will just. No, I need to find a good way to describe this. Let's see.
Just let it come naturally.
Like, okay, yeah, I know.
Okay.
Okay, so like this old grizzled man just suddenly start his breath. You see his breath breathing out, and it's kind of like the area around and starts freezing up as he just tells them, whatever you do here, your fate has already been sealed. If the ship is cursed now, then so are you. And I'm gonna use my hour of ripening, so they have to make wisdom saves or be feared by me.
Okay. Wisdom saves. They're pirates, so they're not very educated. And they're not very, like, world-wise either. Otherwise, they would be, like, captains or something. So, they have a -1.
Ooh.
So let's see how this goes. I'm going to roll 3 of them, and they're going to determine the rest.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
1 succeed.
Okay. So a large group of them and the group in back run away, but the guy with the musket, he notices them running away, and then his hands start to shake. However, he is technically not magically afraid of you, but he seems like you have some sort of power that he is not he's not sure of what caused them to run away, even though they seemed like they were ready to attack you like a second ago. So they all ran away, and he is just afraid of whatever caused them to do that. So
Okay, is he doing anything about it, or is it my turn again?
he's got his gun trained on you, but he seems like he's frozen in fear.
Okay. So I will just turn around again and start looking out towards the sea. And I'll tell him, take the shot if you think it'll save you.
He goes, and he just lowers the gun and he goes, I just want to live, okay? As he walks away. And I'll say, Juzai, make a perception check to see if you notice any of that happen.
I don't even know what happened in the past.
That's fine.
That's
I'll
good.
explain it to you if you need to know.
Because I'm a bit confused what's going on.
Okay, go make the roll. The perception roll.
Perception. No, that's way too low. I don't mean way too low for the roll, but way too low to where it is. There we go.
I'll say that you caught the end of what happened. So you noticed that a group of people suddenly surrounded the cursed captain, and there was some talking happening, and then suddenly almost all of them ran away, and one of them seemed extremely afraid all of a sudden, and he walked away after a while.
Just nigger to myself as I see it. It says, taking up good to your name, I see.
So he approaches you and says that, I assume.
No, I just say that from a distance.
Okay, so he's sort of like, I'll say at this point you're sort of standing on the opposite side of the deck, like he's on this side and you're on this side of the ship, and he just sort of yells that to you.
Yeah, those men seemed weak of will.
They're easily scared when you know how.
I saw. And you don't believe in tales yourself?
I first have to see it to believe it.
Well, that makes sense. Let's hope it doesn't come to that then.
I just believe in bad luck. And good luck as well. I think you just had a bad luck of run with ships, that's all.
Bad, good, I'm still alive.
That's what I said. Bad luck with ships, but not your life.
He'll just start looking out towards the sea again at that.
Okay. Okay.
Unless
so,
you say anything else, of course.
Yeah. Okay. So, I'll tell you when this is happening. This is happening after you've been out to sea for about half a day, maybe. It's in the afternoon of the day when you guys left. These guys just approached him and you caught some of it. Apparently they wanted to get him off the ship because he was cursed and they wanted him off the ship, like to just get him to like jump into the ocean or something. They were threatening him with weapons and stuff. So
Yeah, I would just have looked how we would have handled it. I mean, I do hear rumors and stories, so I was just curious what he would do.
yeah, and he seemed to make them run away from him in some other way. I'll say that you're relatively well versed in magical things. They seemed like they were afraid of him when the second before they were ready to slice his throat and dump him off the boat. So something happened, and he caused it, whatever it was.
I just enjoy the moment.
All right.
Yeah, and you said we had 3 days before we left the island, right?
Yeah, if you wanted to do anything.
Well, yeah, that was just, well, as I said, I was previously experimenting with something that prevents souls from being stolen. So, yeah, been working on that. Have another prototype done, so clear for testing that.
Okay, so you have something and you have a slot in your suit where you can put it, but you're not sure whether or not it's going to work. You'd have to have someone attempt to steal your soul to find that out. So
Yeah, I guess we have someone that could be like someone that I've talked about. Like if I notice it's not working, that they just immediately stop.
maybe you could try that.
Yeah, because that is something I think I would have been doing it with my other failed experiments. Like no, 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 just a pile of failed experiments and just all the blueprints by it. Like no, they didn't work. That didn't work, and I just have a few a few nodes that have potential but haven't been yet worked out, so to say.
Okay. So you do have a prototype that you have installed on your suit. You're not sure whether or not it'll work, but
Mhm.
you have something. Um, it, and I'll say that mechanically, I'll say, if someone attempts to do that, then I'll make a roll to see whether or not it's viable, and if it works, then it will prevent that from happening.
Yeah, and then I just need to perfect it to have it work each and every time instead of just once, so to say.
Yeah. Or anything like that. But yeah, anyway. So you're now on the ship, and you're not sure where you're headed. You haven't seen Bloodbeard on deck. He's just been in his quarters since you got on the boat.
I go to his quarters, knock on the door to make sure that he is not doing something, just making sure he's still well with us, so to say.
He's there. He's in there, and he's just sort of
I knock on the door to see if he answers.
okay. Uh, Before you knock, you look in to see if he's there, and you notice that he's looking at an entire map of the Aquan Sea that is posted on like a sort of like a board almost. Um, so it's like a piece of wood with two things holding it up that can spin around, and you can have another map on the back. But he's
Mhm.
just sort of looking at this map as you knock on the door.
As soon as he says that I can come in, I just open the door, walk in.
Yeah, he allows you to come in. He allows any of his crew to come in, but whether or not they stay there long depends on their position.
Mhm.
So he lets you come in.
So, Captain, how have things been? You haven't been on deck, and well, I guess you hear the commotion outside.
Well, I heard something, and then I looked in the window and saw that it was taken care of, so I went back to what I was doing.
Yeah, the cursed captain is living up to his name, so to say.
Well, I told everyone on the crew not to bother him. I'll have to deal with them when we get back, but for now, don't say anything to them.
I think the problem solved itself already.
Yes.
But not just if you do, Captain.
Yes, but there will be punitive measures taken. But don't let them know that until we return.
As always, I will keep that secret, and it's their trouble now.
Yes. They may get a demotion, but I want them to function adequately at their jobs. For now.
Of course.
It's how I've avoided mutiny for all this time.
Of course you do.
So, you said, during one of our plans, and you remember when you were planning in the bubble, the sphere of solitude that he had set up, so that way you guys could talk without anybody looking in. He says, so we're heading towards one of the islands that you meant that we were talking about. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So our navigator knows where we're headed, so I figured I don't need to do anything. So for now, I'm just seeing if there's any other possible locations that we could head to.
Yeah, that's a good idea, but just a little tip, Captain. To keep, crew moral high, maybe show yourself sometimes. Because I did hear some, not a rebel, but like talk like something is wrong with the captain and such.
Everybody worries about me, even though they're afraid of me. It's a weird situation, needless to say.
You're their leader, but they know they should fear their leader, so it's kind of a thing that you should expect.
I mean, the legend about my beard being red because of blood, you know that's not true, but they believe it. Anyway, I guess I'll step out and see if anything's needs attending to.
Well, a whole lot of, yellow puddles on the deck, maybe.
Well, we got a person for that.
Yeah. Good luck, Captain.
And he just walks past you out the door.
I just take a moment to look at the map and then just leave the quarters
Alright, so since you're looking at the map, make an investigation check, see if anything's marked or pinned on there or anything.
Investigation. 16.
Yeah, there are a few pinpoints on there. And since you made such a good investigation, these pinpoints seem to be anything that is related to this drow guy. Like where they met him, where he was leading you guys to, where he may have came from, and they're marked with different, like, colored markers, depending on whether or not he knows this for certain or not. So it seems like he definitely is afraid of what happened, and he wants to deal with it as soon as possible.
Yeah, so he also takes his time to check if Ironhead has made any moves recently.
Okay, and since you got a higher investigation check, you know that there's a map on the other side, and you flip the map to the other side, and it turns out that he is actually tracking movements from Ironhead's gathering of people, let's say.
Yeah, he keeps a tight loop around it because he does want to have his soul sole preventing stealing experiments to work before anything really bad happens.
Yes, and for this one, he actually has a world map, and he's using the same color coding, but a lot of it is the color coding suggesting that they're just unconfirmed reports, and there are unconfirmed reports of this pirate leader. Like, he's calling himself like a pirate king or something. Bloodbeard isn't sure what he's calling himself, but the leader, there are indications that he is recruiting from all over the world.
Yeah, so
He's not sure if 100% on most of it, but it seems like he's getting recruits from everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, so he does see the pins that lead from what was the volcano island called again?
The Blazing Mound.
Yeah, the Blazing Mouse. He see that it began there, so he's a bit curious about it, but he just leaves it.
Yeah, apparently the legend starts with someone, the Ironhead, which is the leader, but he doesn't know his name specifically.
Yeah.
He says the legend goes that he died on the Blazing Isle and came back to life as a demon, and he is, or devil, you're not sure which. And he's now, like, he was on there recruiting people for a while, as the legend goes, and then he set sail afterward, and holed up somewhere. Like, he has an approximate location where his headquarters might be outlined, but it's like a couple 100 miles worth of ocean. So probably too large of a search area for anybody to feasibly look through. But he marked out an area, and there are pins everywhere. Apparently there's rumors that he recruited giants. There's rumors that he recruited like creatures that normally only live in snowy areas to go to this Blazing Mound area somehow. There's rumors that he got like he has like trained lions and stuff like that, and there's pins going everywhere. So
Yeah. After that, I just turn the map back around and then just leave the room.
yeah, and the reason that you know that information is because he has like newspaper clippings that he's gotten from a bard that had access to the newspapers of different locations, and yeah, apparently some lions were stolen, and there's been indications that a large snow beast was terrorizing a town and then suddenly vanished, so maybe that has to do with him. Things like that. So you do get that information.
Yeah, because I also keep a bit of a those detective pin webs, so just around I've just one board dedicated to Iron and making sure that he doesn't make any moves too quick.
Yeah, and Bloodbeard was doing the same thing, as you noticed when you flipped the thing around.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the things that are on that board you didn't know before. So apparently he's getting information from somewhere.
Yeah, keep some mental notes of that, and then once I have time, I write them down.
Okay. Yeah, like the snow thing, you didn't hear about the snow creature or anything like that, or the trained lions either. So you're not sure where those rumors are coming from, and I'm basing this entirely on the fact that he did a propaganda campaign to try to get recruits. So all of this, I'm gonna say to you as players, this is part of the propaganda campaign.
Yeah.
So if even a fraction of the things you've heard are true, he's still recruiting a lot of people. But either way.
So I'm back on deck with Redbeard.
Yeah, he's just sort of wandering around, making sure everybody's like not too tired or anything like that. He's actually a decent captain to work under. Like if you're tired or sick or something, he'll take you off your position and put someone else there. He doesn't expect you to just keep working. Things like that. So he's just checking in, making sure everybody's okay. They're not feeling sick or anything like that. So he's just sort of talking to each person as he goes by. And eventually he gets to the cursed captain, and he sees him glancing out to sea. And he goes, "I'm just doing my checkup. Everything all right?"
Yeah, it's calm today. It's been so ever since we left.
Well, I guess that's a good sign. Well, I guess storms can crop up in an instant, but I'll take what I can get.
I don't believe this is the journey we die on. Or I don't say we, I say you, as in those people, because I don't believe I'll die.
Okay, that's fair. And he goes, "Well, just tell me when you feel like it's gonna be. Then I'll prepare."
I'll just nod.
He goes, "So you're not feeling sick or anything? You don't need more food?"
I can manage with little.
He nods. And he goes, "Just what I ask everybody." And he continues to the next person.
Yeah.
And Juzai, you approach as he just walks past the cursed captain.
So I hear you see people's deaths coming, I hear. Did you catch that?
Well, yeah, I caught it. Well, no, I don't see people's death coming, but I do know that they're coming. It's hard to explain, I tell him.
Most things in this world are sometimes harder to explain than others. But isn't that the fun of this world?
Well, perhaps you can see some fun in that.
Cursed captain,
Yeah.
you notice that he is currently carrying around a metallic briefcase. You're not sure what that is. So if you're interested, you can ask about it.
You carry around your personal belongings everywhere.
No. Oh, you could say it's a personal belonging, yes.
It's just gonna sink you faster.
It might. Or it might save my life. You don't know.
That's true. I do not know. And I just look out towards. I'm not a very charismatic character.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, welcome to my life.
So
do you have charisma or
-1?
-1? Yeah, sure.
So you're two -1 characters trying to hold a conversation.
Well, perhaps you can figure it out. Just test your luck, I would say.
Figure out what's in the case.
Yeah, sure. You could just ask me. Perhaps I could just give you a straight answer.
Well, sure, if you want to tell me what's in the case.
Well, I just hold the case and go like, make a guess. What's in it?
Describe what it looks like so that way he can make a more accurate guess.
Yeah.
It looks just like a metal suitcase. It doesn't look very out of the ordinary or very odd or anything. Just looks like a metal suitcase.
Okay. Is there some way I could do like a insight check or something to figure out what you could have been carrying around?
If he wants to let you roll against him on something, he can allow you to do that, whatever it is he wants you
No,
to do.
he can do. Let's see. Perhaps a perception, because they're teeny tiny things that are a bit off about the suitcase, but they aren't very obvious if you're not looking close enough for them.
Okay, sure.
22?
You do, yeah, you easily notice.
So what do I see?
You see in few of the corners that there's some, well, damage of some sort, and if you listen very closely, you hear some kind of ticking, like a clock.
Okay, so I'll see. From the looks of the case, it must be. Well, you definitely bursted the case, but I do hear some sounds coming from inside it. Ticking noises.
Yeah, go on, make a guess. What is it?
I'll just see if I know what a clock is first. No, I don't. So I'll just so some sort of explosion device.
Well, I would say it brings explosive action with it, but no, it won't blow up.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of that makes ticking noises.
I put the case down and, well, let it all open up into the suit that I have. A big, bad, well, it's just a big diving suit that it just well, my power armor, so to say.
Yeah, so it looks like a suitcase, and then it basically does a Transformers type thing, and it unfolds, and it looks like a diving suit, like those stereotypical ones with a huge helmet and everything like that.
Not Big Daddy, not that one. Not from Bioshock.
Well, maybe a little bit smaller helmet, but other than that, it's pretty similar.
I see now why it's damaged.
Yeah, it doesn't only do that, as I just take the gauntlet off and just make it spark, as I can just do that as it has a built-in shocking grasp device.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty handy.
You witnessed that happen.
Yeah.
Pretty handy to give some shocking handshakes.
Well, I don't see much use of a shocking handshake. I don't know what do you want to do that for? I'm just looking a bit confused.
Yeah, why would you want to handshake someone and then electrocute them? Yeah, that is confusing.
Just a plain words. So I put the gauntlet back and then collapsed the suit again back into the suitcase form.
Yeah, and then it sort of does like he manually starts folding it, and then it starts folding itself back into the suitcase form.
Well, in either case, it's impressive enchantment.
No magic here, my man.
Well, there's a little bit, but yes.
It's a teeny tiny, but most of it is just tech, the physics of the universe, so to say.
Kind of, yeah.
He just looks at you like, what? And then doesn't say anything.
A fairly highly intelligent person with someone that is... How high is your intelligence?
12, so I am intelligence, but yeah.
Like, he can understand things if you explain them to him, but if he hasn't seen them before, then he won't know what you're talking about.
You know, the physics of the universe, like Why an apple
know
drop?
the physics of the universe. I don't know about whatever that is.
You know,
Suitcase plate mails. I haven't seen those before.
well, I just let it work with the physics of the universe, like dropping of an apple, or how lever works. Just make that in something more complicated, and well, you get this. Just like how you see automatons work.
I'm just noting down to myself now. Okay, he's just a crazy person.
Okay, sure, I'll allow that.
But well, just
He's a crazy
listening
person.
to the conversation, but not saying anything. Like I'll just let you talk.
He's the crazy person that's the first mate of the captain. Seems right.
I mean, the captain seemed pretty crazy too. I mean, he wanted me, so.
He's. I'll just say that for you as players, whether or not your characters pick up on this or not, he's seeing you as a tool to allow him to be more intimidating. I have this guy who's on my crew who
that's
can.
fine.
Yeah. So he's hoping that the legends don't hold 100% true. But anyway, whatever. If it's true or not, we'll see. Because he made up most of his own legends about himself. But
Mine started in truth because I have actually been the lone survivor of several shipwrecks. Is what I'll say.
Okay, I'll say that is capable of happening in the universe, and I'll allow it.
Sure.
Yeah. So after their little charade slash talk,
Actually, are you going to leave the conversation, like go somewhere else?
yeah, I was going somewhere else. Go
Okay,
down.
the captain notices you two talking, and he walks over after finishing his conversation with somebody else, and he goes, "So, first and second mate, seeing you're getting well acquainted.
Well, as well acquainted as two people can get.
I suppose. But yes, Captain, this is my first mate."
I nod towards you, Gio.
Yeah, I just nod back.
And he goes, "So, you guys are to be my protectors in a fight, though I can handle myself, but if things get too hairy for me, I expect you to protect me, like he does for me."
My life for you, Captain.
I'm aware of what you want.
Yes, I'm just clarifying that he is under the same rules as you. So, you might want to get to know your partner, I suppose. And he says, "But anyway, good luck. Um, I'm gonna check on everybody else," as he walks away. He just wanted to make sure that you two were well aware that he is now in a position of power, and this guy is also has been for a while in a position of power, and you both are in the same position, basically.
Yeah. So, if you want to have a tour of the ship, you can come with me right now, or I can give it later.
Is there
You've already
anything?
been on the ship for a little while, so you know your way around a ship, but
Yeah,
it's up to you.
I'll just ask you. Unless you have any secret passages I don't know about or rooms, then I've seen it.
There's
Well,
no real secret passages or rooms other than like maybe a secret compartment in the cargo hold for
Yeah,
especially expensive items, but
I'm basically saying I've seen the ship, unless
yeah.
there's something really hard to
Yeah,
see.
I know what you're saying. I'm just saying for Geo's sake that
Okay.
yes, there might be like a few hidden compartments, but other than that, it's a pretty straightforward ship because it's got a whole bunch of cannons on it. It's nobody's gonna come on the ship without knowing what they're coming in for.
Yeah. So, well, if you say then I'll be going. I just head into the ship and check up with the maintenance crew to see if they have any problems.
See if any of those mites escaped.
Well, I doubt they've escaped.
Yeah. Technically, the mites are back at the cove now.
Yeah.
They're considered part of the loot. So they're stored somewhere other than where on the ship.
They're stored with many labels on them to be very careful. Don't drop the glass. If you do, you will be in deep shit.
Yeah. So they're stored safely. I'll say that for sure they are safe. Unless if somebody somehow breaks into your loot hoard, then they're safe.
Which is exactly what happened. No.
Maybe. You don't know. But I'm going to say that people are going to handle it with the appropriate amount of care. They're not just going to accidentally break it or something. So unless if somebody actually tries to do something, nothing's going to happen to them.
Yeah, there's labels and many warnings.
Yes.
As an artificer would with something he knows it can be very dangerous.
Yes. So, what are you guys going to do other than him checking to the maintenance crew? Are you going to remain on deck?
My character is just waiting for something to happen. Anything is...
Okay. I'll get you to make another perception check to see if you notice anything out on the water.
Yeah. Perception 9.
Well, that's better than your first one. So, you start looking over the water. It seems like the waves have picked up a little bit more around here, but it's not unsafe or anything. But it's less calm than it was before. Perhaps something is happening, you're not sure, however your character interprets that. The waves are getting a little bit more intense, but the boat seems heavy enough and buoyant enough to be able to cut through those waves. So you assume that everything's still fine, but the intensity is increasing.
Yeah.
Alright, so Jazai, you're going to talk to the maintenance crew, see if anything's wrong?
Yeah, if something came up or anything.
They go, well, ship's fine, as far as we can tell. We haven't been notified of anything catastrophic. Just stuff that we can easily take care of. What we're here to do, like, make sure the ship is okay. That's what we're here to do. So
not something like last time you have these few cans that were just being ordered off. And
no, nothing like that.
Been bad.
Yeah, nothing like that. Our equipment seems in working order, just needs maintenance and upkeep and,
the usual, so to say.
Yeah, nothing you need to concern yourself directly with.
Okay, that's good to know. Don't want to have another accident with mites.
Yes. They can be annoying, though rare. That was only the second time I've ever seen them. So.
Well, first time I did, so yeah, they are indeed rare.
Yes, but they do exist, and we are aware of them, so I'm glad you caught on to that. It might have taken me, or anyone else on this staff, a little bit longer than you to find them.
Yeah, I just find it quite odd that for perfect cannons to all of a sudden say, nope, I quit. Just found it a bit odd.
You're right, it was, and you figured it out, so congrats. Anything else you need?
No, just checking up and that's all. Just keep up the good work.
Alright, well, we will send for you if anything catastrophic happens. We know that you are handy with a wrench, so we'll call you.
Okay, well, at ease then. I say as I then leave the room.
Alright. Anything else you would like to do for the rest of the day? Because otherwise, we'll get another perception check from the cursed captain.
Just to check on my own. Well, I'm just going to do maintenance and check on the prototype I made to see if it's actually holding up.
It seems to be doing something. You're not sure if it's actually what you want it to do, but it seems to be functioning in some way that you think might work. So it's still working, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I do check notes that I have, like, should it be doing that, or yeah, it seems to be okay.
Yep, green lights on everything. So, yep, perception check. And another 9. The intensity picks up a little bit more, but still, again, not enough to worry about. Nothing catastrophic in the waves is appearing to you. Though now that it's nighttime, which is when this next perception check is happening, you notice a few glowing bits under the ship, which is no problem. They're probably just luminescent fish or jellyfish or things like that that the ship are passing by. And they're sort of glowing different colors like red and green. If you want to identify specifically what it is, you'll have to look closer, but you notice it.
Okay. We're not in need of food or anything on the ship, so I guess I will just keep looking at the fish.
All right, I'll say that since you continue to look at them, I'll say make a nature check to see if you can identify what is happening under the ship.
Nature. 11.
Decent for someone who only has 1. But still, you don't know the specific species or anything. But they are indeed fish that have luminescent stripes on them, and they change color depending on how they feel. So when the ship gets close to them, they get afraid and they glow like a purplish, bluish color, and they swim away, which means that they're afraid, and then they go back to whatever they were doing before. So like reds if they're angry, or blues and purples.
So like flumps, but in water.
Basically, like the color schemes are the same, but you're not sure if they're as intelligent as those creatures or not, because you don't know the specific species.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, you don't know if you could dive in the water and have a conversation with them or not, is what I'm trying to say. But they do work similarly. Like the color schemes are mostly universal for that kind of thing. So yes, they do have emotion luminescence, is what I'll call it. Emotional luminescence. Which is interesting, but not dangerous. So you watch them. There's a couple of schools of them that pass by during the night. So unless you want to catch one, you just watch them, I guess.
Yeah, he doesn't see a need to, so he's just gonna watch them pass by.
Alright. So that happens. And I'll say that you eventually rest after a while. And you guys get another long rest, even though you didn't need it. Because you didn't lose anything. Next day happens. Do you guys want to do anything on this day?
Same as former day.
Yeah, I'll give you your perception rolls, but let's see what Josiah wants to do.
Just have a bit of a chat with the captain to see what he wants with the islands, because I'm not quite sure what he actually wanted with them again.
Okay, so he goes into detail again. I won't roleplay this one. That the drow is probably from somewhere nearby. Probably. So the first place that you're going to start off searching is a nearby island to see if they have any clue of where he came from, or if anybody's seen him there, or anything like that. So you're gonna just start searching to see if you can get any clue of where he came from. That's basically why you're going to this other island.
Yeah. So I did relay the info that I got from, well, the drow, right?
Yeah. He was there during that conversation.
Okay.
Like, he was gonna walk away, but when he saw the priest coming, he decided to come back, because that may have been what he was going to do, but you're not sure. He came back after he saw the priest come. So he was there for the conversation.
Okay. So I then try to, well, let's see, what else would I then do? Oh yeah, just see where I can help and see if I can't help. Well, then just make sure my notes are correct and on everything I have currently.
Alright, the maintenance crew just tells you that there were some luminescent fish that came by, and sometimes their blood is acidic, and they ran some checks on the front of the ship to see if any damage was sustained. They didn't see any, so they didn't see a need to call you.
Okay.
So apparently the fish avoided the ship, basically. Because if they would have got hit at the speed you're going, they may have broke open or split in half or something like that. So, because it is a heavy ship and it is moving at almost as fast as it can go, so it might
Would
hurt
be
a
a
small
bad
fish.
thing.
Yeah, but they did their precautious looks to see if there were any leaks or anything. They didn't notice anything wrong, so they didn't tell you. But since you came to ask them, they told you about it.
Okay, that's good to know.
But other than that, nothing.
Yeah, then I just leave them be because I don't think that anything can go wrong currently. At least I hope.
All right.
And
Fair
then just
enough.
go. Yeah, go on. What do you want to say?
Not with my perception, no. Nothing's happening.
You
Yeah,
may
then
have gotten something else, but who knows?
yeah, then
Maybe that day was just supposed to be a good day.
then I just head down to my room and just check my notes and check a few tiny things I can have on pocket, like to see if it's still up to scrap or if they need fixing.
All right. So I'll say that this is the first perception check for him. So make a perception check.
Oh, I see things. What's this?
Okay, now you see what's going on. The reason why the waves were picking up a lot more is because there is a storm that is going to pass, that was nearby the ship. You're not sure if it's still in existence, but something was kicking up the water, causing waves to kick up. You're not sure if you're going to run into the storm. You're not sure if the storm is even still happening. But the water is getting a little heavier, even now, which you can take to indicate that it might be getting worse or closer. You're not sure.
I will think of this as a test for the ship or the crew. So I will keep that to myself.
Okay. So, for your second perception check, make another one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely, you are getting closer to a storm, and in fact, you see on the horizon some dark clouds and perhaps some thunder, but you're not close enough to hear it yet. So, like, thunder and lightning is what I mean. So you see the lightning, the thunder is the noise, but you don't hear the noise. You see the arcs of something going through the clouds. You're not sure if it's like a hurricane or anything yet, but you see dark clouds on the horizon. No one else seems to have been like, storm ahead, Captain, or anything like that.
Let's see, what will I do? I will, yeah, sure. I will slowly make my way towards the captain's chambers.
Okay. So, you see the stuff on the horizon. You head over towards that way. You can head there a lot quicker than the boat is going to ever get close to that. But so, what do you want to do when you get there?
Yeah, I'll just let them know that. I'll just let them know that the test is coming, and then I'll.
You say that to Bloodbeard?
Yeah, I'll just let them know a test is coming, and I'll leave the room.
Okay, he leaves the room with you, and he considers asking you what that means, but he figures that you're not going to answer him. So he's going to make a perception check, see if he can find out what you're talking about. When someone says something like that, obviously, especially with your reputation, so he's going to look around, see if he can see anything.
That's fine.
Yes.
He sees it.
Yes. Since he knows what to look for, that sort of thing, something that can sink a ship, he rushes to the front of the ship, and he goes, "Wake up, you dullards! Look!" And he points to the clouds on the horizon. And one guy was just sort of leaning against the front of the ship, looking around as he slaps him on the side of the head. And he goes, "Oh, storm coming! Storm coming!" And he starts running around the ship. And Jazai, in the afternoon, you hear, "Storm coming! Storm coming!" from up on deck.
I just sigh and get up on deck to help out.
All right. It seems like the trajectory, Captain could have told you, Curse Captain could have told you that this was coming sooner than he did. So he waited just long enough so that way you have to, at least for a little while, go through the storm a little bit. You can't change course fast enough, especially because of the speed that you're going. And it looks like the storm is headed in this direction by the time you get up. And it is what they call a water spout, which is a hurricane that is on water that has touched down on the water and is sucking up water with it. So there's water in the hurricane spinning itself. So there's large amounts of water being sprayed around and everything like that. So it's one of the most dangerous things that you could encounter on a ship in real life. So you're going to be in for quite the fight to try to get out of it, because there's heavy winds which can pull you in if you get too close, and there's the spraying water along with rain and thunder and lightning, things of that nature that you'll have to worry about. And since you're on the ocean, technically your ship's mast is the tallest thing, so if lightning were to strike anywhere near the ship, it would hit the mast.
Yeah.
So this is a pretty bad situation.
That
so
you definitely don't know. I didn't see that before, because you don't know that.
But I was explaining that you could have told them earlier based on the signs that you saw, and if you would have, you might have been able to avoid the storm entirely. But since you waited longer,
yeah. I just want to say what my character will be doing during this whole storm thing. He's just gonna go into the very front of the ship, next to, like, I assume there's some sort of railing or something.
Mm-hmm.
Just
there's like a railing a railing to prevent you from like toppling over instantaneously. Yes.
Yeah, so I just go to the very top, hold on, look into the storm, and I'm gonna see if the sea takes me or not.
Okay, fair. So he's not going to help. So, Jazai, what are you doing? At this point, it is starting to rain heavily on the deck.
I'm preparing things. I'm just making sure things are down in the ship are like tied down, so that no one can get crushed.
Fair enough. Like you tie down some things like boxes that are on deck and things like that. However, if yes, that's true. However, you can't like tie the masts down sufficiently so that way if those break, they don't crush people.
Yeah.
Because if they break, they're gonna fall and they're gonna hit people. It's just what's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's in the ship, so yeah.
Yeah, so you go inside and you start tying down boxes. That way, people who are attempting to rest through the storm, because you have a huge crew, so you don't need everybody on deck at the moment. So people who are attempting to rest or are sick or something like that, you still have those people under deck. So you're going down there, tying things down to protect them. Plus, there's people on the ship who are not useful on deck anyway, so they stay down there mostly. There might be a few people who might go up to see if they can like pass things to people, like get supplies from down below, but otherwise, most people are just going to stay below if they're not helpful. Especially if they're tired or things like that. You guys have a procedure that if people are tired, they're no good on deck even if there's a storm. They just get in the way, so they're below deck. So you do that. What else?
Things tied down.
It is pouring heavily, like a torrential downpour.
I make sure that people are following protocol, so to say.
The people who are supposed to stay down below are staying.
Yeah,
the people who are supposed to remain resting are remain resting. They know that if
deck, that they do take the safety precautions.
Yeah, so they're in their beds. They're prepared. Like there's like rope in their rooms and stuff, so that way they can hold themselves in their beds, that sort of thing. But really, if the ship goes down, they're gonna go down with it, and they know that they're not in a position to help because they're either sick or too tired or whatever. So they're remaining where they are to try to be useful when they are able to be useful. So
Okay.
the people below deck are doing that, but if you're going up above deck to make sure everyone's doing protocol, there are people who are like trying to get the masts into different positions. There are people panicking, trying to get away from the water spout. Because if the water spout hauls in your sails, it can easily tip the ship over. So they are trying to give the water spout as wide of a berth as possible. However, you have a feeling that you're going to at least get relatively close to it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can see it on the horizon and you see the water spraying everywhere that's being sucked up by this touched down tornado or hurricane. You're not exactly sure. And it's just picking everything up in the water. You even see like fish flying, things like that.
I just look at it and say, this is going to be a bad one.
All right, anything else you want to try to do before you get into the storm proper?
Have my suit on.
All right, that's a good idea, actually. It's actually, isn't it a little bit stronger than you are, technically?
Far stronger, I think, even.
Yeah. So it'll help you if you like a mast falls and you want to try to prevent it from hitting people. That would be helpful. So yes, doing that would be good. So unless if there's any last minute things, the storm is on you.
Nope, that's it.
Alright, the storm is on you, and you're in the middle of it. You can, if you didn't have your suit on, your eyes would be so pelted with seawater and regular rainwater that you wouldn't be able to, would hardly be able to see. You would have to, like, strain your eyes closed like this and squint in order to be able to see anything. And that's what half the crew are doing right now.
In
And
that case, I will just close my eyes and look out. Like,
okay, sure. Because it's quite heavy rains, and it is very, like, there's seawater, and if you get seawater in your eyes, then the salt gets stuck in your eyes, and it's no good. So, and the waves are heavy and huge. So, the first thing that somebody calls out is rogue wave, and you see a wave that is moving in a direction that doesn't make sense based on how all the other waves are moving, and it is just heading towards the side of your ship, and it is taller than the ship. So what do you want to do? The captain is going to be doing things if you don't do anything. But
if he's not in his cabin, then I will just, well, shove him in there.
So you're putting the captain in his cabin?
Yeah, to keep him safe in there, and then everyone that isn't like currently grabbed onto something, well, try make sure that they don't go overboard.
Okay, fair enough. So you start looking for people. There is somebody who is in the middle of tying something down and apparently didn't hear the warning.
I just move up to him and just... Is there like rope close by? Cause
yeah, he's trying to tie something, like tie off like part of the sail, so that way, because part of the sail got loose in the winds, and he's trying to tie that down, and he didn't hear the warning over the heavy winds and rain.
I just get up to him and just tell him, well, would it be on me in the time that I tell him?
You think that it's going to hit before you have enough time to finish a sentence, once you get to him.
I just grab hold of him once it hit. Well, once I get to him, I just grab hold of him.
Okay, so he doesn't realize that you're someone who's trying to help him, so make a grapple check.
Okay. $13.
Alright, he is going to roll his strength. He is not strong enough to resist you, so he attempts to resist you before he realizes what's happening. Unfortunately, he is not strong enough to contend with your suit. So he gets placed down on the deck, and you just sort of stand there as this wave just encompasses the entirety of the deck and just washes over everybody on the deck. You notice a few people also didn't hear, but you noticed that guy first. And there's currently 2 people hanging on the railing, trying desperately to not fall into the ocean.
So this is after the wave has hit, right?
Yeah, the wave hit, but they are tangling off the side of the ship.
So let the guy go that I'm currently protecting, and then just go
Yeah, and
up.
he gets up and goes back to grabbing the rope that he was trying to tie down. So, what are you doing with the other 2?
I tell him to forget the rope for now and help his crew members.
He goes, "If I don't tie this down, the sail will fly up." So he's basically saying that if he doesn't do this thing, it would be more helpful for him to do this thing, basically.
I just signed and, well, try and help the 2 people.
Alright, they're relatively close to each other. So you can attempt to get one of them, and the other one will maybe be able to hang on. We'll see. So you can get to one of them.
I go for the weaker of the 2.
One appears to be hanging on by 3 fingers.
And the other just by 2 hands or something?
Yeah, the other one has 2 hands at the moment.
I'm going for the one with 3 fingers.
Alright, you grab him, and he knows that you're trying to help him, so you manage to pull him up. However, the other guy needs to make a save before you get to him. So maybe some water knocks him off. We'll see.
Don't you?
He nat ones his save, and he gets hit by a wave, and suddenly you notice that that person is no longer there.
I just get the other person on deck and tell him to get safe. Well, since my diving suit.
Alright. You tell him to get safe. He gets back on deck and he's breathing heavily. However, he does have some obligations to take care of, so then he quickly gets back up and starts looking at those, making sure they're in proper position.
I dive after the guy that fell in the water.
Okay, you dive into the water. He's just on the surface of the water. However, the boat is also moving. So
as soon as I just grab hold of him, I have one tiny handy spell that's called Misty Step for free. That's a
okay,
regional spell that I can do once a day for free.
okay. So you managed.
Well, sure.
Okay, what were you gonna say?
No, technically it only teleports yourself, is what I was about to say.
Oh, well.
Let's see. Yeah. Briefly, it doesn't specifically say if he's touching somebody it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say that it would work. So, yeah. I'm just gonna say that it will work, just so that way
sure.
you can get back. He wouldn't have made that decision if he.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let it for now. So you dive into the water, you grab the guy's leg, and you manage to move through the mist in this moment to Misty Step back onto the ship, and you throw him back on deck.
And then get on deck myself as well.
Well, yeah, you're on deck. You're on there, and then you just sort of like throw him down.
Next time, listen closely.
It's kind of hard with all this wind, but I'll try. And he gets back to his post.
So I make sure that I just make sure that everything's going okay. Once things go apeshit, they go apeshit.
Okay, sure. However, everyone seems to have survived the rogue wave due to your quick thinking and managing to get him back on the ship. So, you managed to save everyone. The next event that's going to happen that needs your intervention, a few, maybe 10 minutes later, you're still in the storm, and it's extremely heavy and torrential. You guys turned to the left, and you managed to not go directly into it or anything like that. You're going around it. However, you see this monumentally huge, gargantuan tower of water and wind and clouds just towering beside your ship. It's almost too immense to think of how big it is. You'd have to look like this in order to see the whole thing. And you're just sort of looking at this thing when suddenly you see something gray flying out of the spout, the water spout, and it is heading towards the ship. What do you wish to do? It's large and gray, whatever it is.
I just yell at the top of my lungs for everyone to just hold on for whatever is coming.
Alright. You do that, and within that 6-second turn, it's getting closer at a rapid pace. Make a perception check to see if you can see what this thing is.
Perception. 11.
You're not exactly sure what it is, but you see like black dots and white things on the front of it, and it seems to be moving up and down whatever's on front of it.
While all this is happening,
Sure.
I'm gonna start to sing on sea chanty, probably very poorly, because it's an old man with low charisma.
Yes.
But I'll sing a sea chanty about everything coming from water and then turning back into water. Basically,
Okay.
pretty like the people who are scared should be more scared, but that's not really my intention.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Most people are focused, but they do hear what you are saying.
Yeah, I just start to sing some old sea chanties.
It's decent for you. So it's better than what you would normally sing. So perhaps the inspiration of this storm is actually causing you to sing a little bit better than normal. It's not perfect, though, but it's not horrible compared to what some of these other people on the boat would sing like. So you're doing all right. Like you're holding the notes properly and you're not off tune. So that's something. That's something. But everybody seems quite focused, but they do hear what you are saying. Maybe in a few minutes later they'll do something, but for now they seem focused on what they're doing. However, Josiah, you see this gray thing flying towards you. What do you do?
I try to, well, see if it's some kind of creature. I'm not sure what it is.
With your perception check,
Yeah.
I gave you the information. You
Yeah,
can
great.
assume
Not
from
that-
what I told you what it is.
It seems to be some kind of creature, so I just point up my gauntlet and just charge up ready to blast it, because I'm not sure if it's actually hostile or not.
Alright. It's flying through the air at blazing speed, and the next 6 seconds pass, and you know that if you wouldn't have kept this reaction, you wouldn't be able to do anything. However, now it is close enough for you to identify it, but the only thing you can do is your reaction when it gets close enough. You see what it is. It is plainly just a regular shark that was caught up in the tornado and flown through the air towards your ship. However, it is going to impact with your ship, but you do have a reaction to do something with it. Yes, the reference isn't lost on me. This is a Sharknado, yes.
GTFO, Sharko.
Alright, you deal 6 damage. Does that kill a shark? I don't have my books next to me.
No, I can try and find a shark. Sure.
Like a regular shark, like a low.
We have reef shark, hunter shark, and giant shark. That's the 3 ones.
It's a regular, so the tiniest thing.
Yeah, it's a regular shark, but regular shark, I mean great white shark. But it's a regular shark. It's not like a powerful shark like a hunter shark or anything. Because those are technically in this world a little bit magically enchanted.
Well, the
abilities,
lowest one would be a reef shark. That's
yeah, so
22 hit points.
That doesn't defeat it. However, you are using force damage. Okay, so I'm gonna roll a d20 to see if it's moving too fast for you to deflect it or not. Just a d20. It's moving just barely slow enough for you to deflect it, so that way it doesn't come into contact with the ship, and it just sort of crashes into the water. It's probably still dead, but at least it didn't destroy your ship. Like, the force with which it came into impact with the water is probably enough to kill it, but at least it didn't kill your ship.
Good.
You did hear a thump against the side of the ship, but it didn't seem like it was enough to deal heavy damage or anything. So there's that.
I just tell everyone top deck to, well, keep their wits about, and then just go below deck to see if things are going down bad down there.
Okay, so you're gonna check to see if, like, it broke through or anything under?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you go under. There's a few boards that are bent a little bit in the area where you think it might have hit. However, there are people currently working on it, trying to fix it. So you can allow them to try to fix it, or you can try to do something to help them.
Oh, I'm going to help when I can.
Okay, there's people like getting extra boards, and there's people with hammers just trying to get it back into position. And they said, "What the hell was that? What came into contact with the ship? Did someone shoot at us?"
Well, if you mean the water spout shooting sharks at us, then yes.
Holy Senna. And they keep hitting the the thing to try to bend it back into place. That's what they're trying to do. So do you have any input on what they're doing?
Yeah, I just help them bend it back in place.
Okay, make a strength check.
Let me
Whether
just
or
double,
not you're using tools, it's the same.
let me just double check a thing, because I forgot. I think I forgot to add my strength modifier actually last time. Where did it go?
No, it was 4.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was 4.
yeah, the modifier, but the extra modifier because of my war suit.
I don't know. But it
Uh,
said +4. That's what it said.
yeah. Nope. I'm doing it. Wait. Just double checking. Because it has been a while, otherwise I would have already called it. Ooh. Ooh, ooh. Actually, I did forget to add it. Should be a 5.
So you get a +1 to strength.
Plus
because-
2.
Okay.
Plus 2 since modifier gives. So yeah, here it goes. That's a net 20. Oh, not a net 20.
That is a 10. You do help them, but it takes a couple of minutes to fix it back into place. Whereas there's a little bit of water leaking through, and a fish flops through the crack. And
Right.
then you fix it as soon as the fish comes in.
I just look momentarily at the fish and go like, did that thing just come true?
Maybe it's afraid of the storm, I don't know.
Odd.
And one of the people just quickly picks up the fish so that way nobody slips on it or anything. And they run off to a different part of the ship to try to help whatever they're trying to do.
Just getting behind a corner and eating the fish.
Yeah, they just
This
go,
is mine now.
They don't even cook it or anything.
No.
It's the last thing I'm gonna eat. But anyway, but yeah, they just moved it so nobody would slip on it, and then they went somewhere, and you don't know what they're gonna do with it. They might
we
eat
know.
it. You don't know.
Well,
We know.
I don't care about it. I just go top deck once it's fixed.
All right, you go back up, and we'll say in another few minutes pass, and during those few minutes, since the cursed captain is singing a sea shanty, one of the people who can actually hear him, who is nearby, goes, "Why don't you shut up and help us?"
I pay no attention to him.
Okay. Since he's in a panic mode, he just wanted you to help, and since you don't listen to him, then he just goes back to whatever he was supposed to do.
I just look up and just watch him and says, he's right, you know. I yell it over instead of such a calm tone, but I'm just talking calm tone because people are sleeping upstairs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't respond to any of this.
All right. So that happens. So the next thing that happens and is So the next thing that happens is I'm gonna get both of you, sure, why not, to make perception checks. And if the cursed captain still has his eyes closed in the storm, it's at
It
disadvantage.
depends if I can. Did the waves slow down, or is it still like splashing everywhere?
This is a huge storm, so it's taking a long time to get through it.
Okay, disadvantage then. 9.
All right. So with a 12, you see a momentary break in the storm, Jazai, and you see something green in the middle of the storm, and then the storm covers it back up. Whatever it was. But it's huge, whatever it is. And it seems to be inside the storm.
Okay.
And one of the people who's next to you, I'll say, says to you, "Even with a storm this big, we should have gotten through it by now."
So I start thinking, we should have been through it indeed. I just raised my arm at the point where I saw the green thing calculate for movement distance, and then fire.
Okay, so you're gonna what's the range on this ability?
30 feet.
Yeah, because that's not gonna reach.
Yeah, that's not gonna reach.
You can still point towards it and shoot, though.
You can still do that, but it won't hit anything.
Yeah, I do have another spell. Let's see, what's that? Does 120 feet reach?
I'll say that is you're basically approximating how far away it is. That might be far enough.
Is that spell even complete? I see now that it's missing quite a lot. I'm going
And the thing is, if the cursed captain wasn't rolling at disadvantage, he would have seen this as well. He would have seen what it was, actually.
Ooh. Uh-oh. Orb. Magic orb. No, it's not gonna reach. Nope, that's not gonna reach at all.
Okay. Well, you can fight over which kind of spell you want to use, but you can do other things if none of that would work.
I just tell the crew to be close by and to pick me up when I go into the captain's cabin and give him one the piece of the sending stones.
Okay, so yes, one of his magic. Did you use one of your magic items on a sending stone?
I can make them. Remember?
He made one, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
he can make them. Oh, okay, sure. If your character can make them.
Yeah.
I'm not.
At a certain level, he's an artificer. They make items. That's their deal.
Yeah, I know that they can do that, but I wasn't sure if that was an item that he could just make or whatever. But
Yeah.
if he can, then sure.
I give him one of the sending stones and says, I have a feeling that this storm is not natural.
And Bloodbeard looks at you and says, "But we can get past it, right?"
Well, if I do my thing, perhaps. That's why I'm giving you the sending stone.
He sighs slightly. Okay, but make sure you come back.
I will. And then I leave the room and just go overboard.
Alright, and just before you leave, he does grab the sending stone off the desk and he puts it in his pocket. If that affects your spell or not, I don't know. But he puts it in his pocket.
Nope, I'm just keeping it like a lifeline.
Okay, so the sending stone, it doesn't like teleport you to the exact position.
No, it's not teleporting. It basically lets him send them. Use the spell sending, so send a message to the one who has another stone.
No, sending stone is like.
No, sending stone is you cast.
What am I thinking of then? Because I swear to God, it worked like that.
I figured that's why he was giving it to me, but let's see.
Let's see, sending stone. If it's the one you made, then it would probably be this spell, which is 5th, so you can contact him.
Ah, apparently.
It's like a way of keeping tabs on other people, or like giving them to somebody who's going in alone, that sort of thing.
I thought it was more like a teleportation spell. What stone am I thinking of then?
I think there is one, and it's called a. I don't remember what it's called. Because I had it in Critical Role. That was the reason why I know what it is, and that I am familiar with how it works.
Returning stone or something like that. I think that's rare because it's like teleportation and stuff. But yeah,
like you can teleport back to wherever the stone is what he's thinking of, and that's what I thought he could make.
I mean, if it's the item he picked, then he could have it. But I think the regular one in the Artificer's Stone Sending.
I think it might be called a Gate Stone, but I'm not
sure.
Gate
Stone. That seems right. Yeah, it probably is Gate Stone. I think you're. Yeah, that seems familiar. However, you might not want to jump off the ship if you know that.
Still going for it. I mean, I can fight my way back.
Okay.
Okay. If you want to still do it, you can still send a message and see if you can get them back to where you are or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That can still work.
Do you want to try and convince me to come with you?
I just look at you and say, "You're just going to sing, or are you actually going to help and end this?"
There's no ending a storm. Because I haven't seen what you're referring to.
Oh, there is. This storm can be ended manually.
The funny thing is, he doesn't even know what this green thing is, so maybe it's just an island or something.
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about again. So yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about at the moment.
Perhaps. No,
but you can still go.
You can still just jump over. Yeah, sure.
Damn it, Matthew! Now you make me doubt about it.
I just said a green thing. That is what I said.
Yeah. It's like the eye of the storm. So I'm thinking, if that's the eye of the storm, it should be the center of what's making it.
If only I didn't have my eyes closed.
You would have seen exactly what it was.
So I'm going to try and find it another time, hopefully.
Okay. You're going to attempt to wait and see if it reveals itself again somehow?
Yeah.
Okay. Another 10 minutes pass. Though the captain is still thinking that you jumped off the ship. So, that's the thing.
Look, I have with my suit.
Yeah, but he still thinks that you jumped off the ship, so he's still waiting for you to tell him what happened. So 10 minutes pass. However, you this time see another group of something flying at the ship.
Oh no. I just hold my action ready to fire.
Okay. Make a perception check.
6.
Alright, Captain, are you looking? Storm is still at the same intensity.
Yeah, sure. But not really. I'm just waiting to see what happens with the storm. Like, is it gonna take me or not?
So, yeah, you don't.
You get smacked in the face with a fish.
I mean, you could definitely have convinced me to jump off with you, but like, you can manually shut it off. That didn't do it for me.
You just said, we can turn off the storm manually. And he's just like, no, you can't. So then he just went back to what he was doing. But anyway, you don't see clearly what it is, but you see multiple shapes moving towards the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, you're just still holding?
I'm going to hold my weapon ready, hopefully hitting
Alright.
something soon.
So they come within range, just like last time. You had a chance to see what it was, see that it was there. Then you had a chance to know what it was, but you failed. And now it's going to be on you, because that's how fast the things are flying at you. So, you see clearly what they are. However, it is too late to do anything other than what you just did, which is ready in action with your weapon, which is what you just said. You see what looks like maybe 7 barracuda-like fish with their mouths open, and they are heading towards the ship. And you can use your reaction before they all hit. However, you have a weapon action ready, so you can do that, but there's 7 targets. So, what do you want to do?
I'm going to blow one up.
Alright, roll damage. Wow.
Oh.
Minimum. Don't you have like modifier or something on it?
Force Blast should have modifiers.
Yeah, because it
Yeah,
doesn't
because
have
you
a
rolled
modifier.
all that you rolled were 2d8, and you got 1 on each of them.
So it's probably like your strength.
Intelligence.
Intelligence, yeah.
That's 5s.
So another 5.
No,
Okay.
that's 4. That's plus 4. So 5, 5, 5, and 5.
6.
No, it's 5 plus 1.
Yeah.
Because you crit.
Dice
So-
is double, not modifiers.
Yeah, so you rolled 1 M1 plus 4, which makes it 6.
Unlucky on the dice.
Yeah.
But luckily, that is sufficient enough to blow up a small fish. So it explodes and guts fly everywhere, even on the ship and on you. Because the momentum of the guts still came towards you and hit you. However, beside you, there are now 3 barracuda-like fish that are grabbing with their teeth into the deck of the ship.
I just grab the fish and just start chucking him overboard.
Okay, so you grab fish number 1. You're going to have to make a grapple check on the fish.
I mean, it's like stuck with its teeth. I mean, it would be easy, right?
It's still wiggling its body, so you might miss.
9.
That's the problem. 16. You miss the first fish. So you use your... Unless if you have a bonus action that you want to do.
No.
Alright. You notice that the fish are now gnawing into the boat, causing holes in the deck. And if they continue like this, then they will chew through the deck and go to the next level and continue chewing. So, what do you want to do?
I think they just may be mad. Force Blast.
Perhaps they're a type of fish that does this. You don't know. Alright. You kill one. Probably. Yes. You kill one. Like, you double kill it. And how many attacks do you get on a turn?
I have extra attack.
Okay, so you get 2. So,
Boom.
yeah, you killed 2 of them. However, As you blow them away, their teeth are still stuck in the deck, and the rest of their body just blows up and flies away. So you just have a bunch of teeth stuck in the wood. However, there were 6 of them, and you killed 2.
3, technically.
Yeah, well, there were 7 originally, and there were 6. So you killed 2, and you killed 3 from 7. So there's still 2, so 4. And one of them, I'm gonna make a random roll this time. Yes, only one of them manages to chew through the deck and is starting to wiggle down into the deck below.
Before it even can go there, wait a minute. I tell everybody to jump.
Everybody? You mean everybody on the ship?
On the deck currently.
Okay.
As soon as
about 9, maybe 80% of them hear you. They listen.
They're not touching the ground anymore.
Okay, they jump. What happens?
I'm going to shock the ground since, well, it's wet and water conducts electricity.
Okay, yeah, sure. Here's what I'm gonna say. You hit the floor, which is what you were aiming for. However, you do not hit the one fish that is below deck, but you do hit the other ones. So let's see how much damage you do. Alright, you electrocute those ones, and they are fried. However, you hear below deck, since there is now a hole, you hear of somebody.
I just looked through the hole.
Alright, you look through the hole, and one of the fish is currently attempting to devour somebody.
Ah, fuck. How big is the hole? Because they're tiny fish. I don't think
Yeah, they're barracuda-like fish, so they're like this round, but they have like huge gaping maws, and it made a hole big enough for it to fit through.
So I just yelled through the hole to get that fish off and kill it.
Okay, I'm gonna make a random roll, see how well this goes. Okay, so one crew member gets its chest entirely, like, cut, eaten through, and he falls to the ground. Extremely injured, at least. And another crew member sees the fish and goes over and grabs it and then just slams it against the wall, which seems to stun it long enough for another guy to come up with a hammer and just smack it in the head. And it seems like it's unmoving. However, you lost a crew member. It seems, unless if you can get down there quick enough to heal him.
I just rushed downstairs.
Alright, you get down there. He is bleeding out on the floor, so I'm gonna say it takes you 3 turns to get there. So, death saving throws on his part. 1 success, 2 fail, 3 success. So he is still alive when you get there.
I give him a 1 level cure wounds.
Alright. He is no longer in a dying state, so he gets up, but he is now injured. And he goes,
You rest, no work.
And he just agrees with you, and he just stumbles off. So yes, those fish are dangerous. They do eat people, apparently. So you get back on deck, I assume?
Yep.
Alright, so you get back on deck. So the next thing is going to happen. This time I need you to roll a perception check.
Oh boy.
At disadvantage.
Yeah, for you.
Ooh, 19.
Alright, you actually get some good rolls in here. So, first I'm going to describe what the cursed captain hears, because it's different than what he hears, what Juzai hears and sees. So I'm gonna go with what's hearable first. You hear aloud coming from far away. Possibly in the direction of where the storm is compared to your ship.
I will actually look towards that direction and open my eyes to see what I see.
And you'll not see it, unfortunately, because you'll miss it. But, Juzai, you also hear the noise, but since you have your eyes open, you look towards the storm, and you see another opening in the storm. And you see this green, gnarled, curled up like hand with claws on it, just reaching out momentarily. And then it seems like almost as if it realized that that was happening. And then it draws its hand back in and moves its hand across the opening, and it turns back into a storm. Just looking normal. Like a storm. However, the captain just sees the regular storm and heard the noise.
Yeah. I just inform him with the sending stones and says, "We might be not in a storm, sir."
And he goes, "What do you mean?"
I just saw something.
That's the spell.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the spell. Captain did that.
You have to wait until the dawn to do it again.
I just get to him and say, "It seems to be a living creature."
And he goes, "Why? What did you see?"
I saw something that would give every pirate a nightmare. Big as a hand.
A hand? From the storm?
It seems to come from the storm.
Alright. Let me... Just humor me for a minute. Let me just go on deck for a moment.
Just be careful, Captain.
Alright, so you both go out on deck. And he goes up to where the navigator is, because he's still trying to navigate. Like, he's just in the place where he's supposed to be trying to get you to where you're trying to go, even though there's a storm in the way. And he goes, "So, we should be past this storm now, right?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, about a half hour ago." And he goes, "Have you been turning the ship to try to get away from the storm?" And he goes, "Yes, it seems as though it's chasing us, but it's remaining on our side, sir." And he just looks at you.
As I said, it seems to be a living storm.
And he goes, "Well, then how are we going to get away from it?"
Well, one way would be to take out the source.
Sure, but how are you going to do that and get back?
Yeah, that's why I have the sending stones. Because they, well, you could say you could guide me back. So yes, I'm suggesting me to temporarily abandon ship and just finish off this storm, so to say.
Well, that's not happening. We're not abandoning the ship. But we could try to remain close to the storm, but realize how risky that is?
I do, but I'm not saying that everyone has to abandon ship. No, I jump ship and going to stop it.
The thing is, if we do this and you fail, we get sucked up into the storm and all die.
That's fair too.
So are you sure you're willing to put all of our lives in your hands?
No, I don't. Now, because I see it's a stupid idea, but Does anyone have any other suggestions?
The navigator says, well, we are getting closer to where we need to go, but we still have about a day's travel. If we can get through this, even if we have a storm chasing us the entire way, we may be able to get there. Basically what that means is every 10 minutes an event is going to happen, and you still have over a day to get there. So he's suggesting that you guys could just keep going for a day and hope that you don't die.
God, it's better than my plan, that I do admit.
Just faintly you hear some singing.
And Bloodbeard actually looks over and sees him singing, and then goes, maybe this is part of the curse. That's why it's a living storm and chasing us.
Wait a minute. Curse. Living storm. Make him shut up!
Well, I'll leave that to you if you want to do that. I don't see him singing as drawing the storm. The storm was coming before he even started.
Well, maybe
I did warn the captain there was a test coming.
perhaps the storm is staying because he's singing.
Perhaps the storm is staying because he's on the ship.
Captain, do you really believe that?
I didn't until just a moment ago.
Well, we'll see when he shuts up, and that if the storm goes away. If it doesn't, well, your choice what we do, Captain.
Oh. And then he just looks at the deck and realizes that there's a giant, well, not a giant, but there's like bite marks in the deck. And he notices that there's a hole there, and he goes, what was that?
Barracuda.
Alright, we're not going to survive long enough to get to the island. Something bigger than Barracuda are going to hit the ship and make it unable to do anything. And the navigator goes, well, then what do we do? And he just seems at a loss. Seems like he's never fought a living storm before. So, do you have any suggestions other than that other one? Or do you want to just go with that other one? I mean, maybe you're strong enough to defeat whatever creature's in that storm.
I'm heavily doubting it.
You could probably use some help though. You just have to convince me, really. I wanted to as a player.
Oh God.
You have to remember that he doesn't even know that the storm has anything living in it.
I just tell him that there might be something living in the storm that's coming after.
So you have to go to him because he's at the front of the ship and you guys are where the wheel is. So you're on the complete opposite side of the ship. So you'll have to go to him if you want to do that. I tell
the captain that I'm going to tell our cursed captain that what's going on.
He goes, fine. Just make sure he knows that it might be his fault.
Will do.
Alright.
You should make an intelligence check. You should know that I think it's my fault already.
You can do that if you want.
No, I'm telling you, he should know that I already think it's my fault.
Perhaps. But either way, he told you to do that. You can decide what you want to do when you approach him. So, what do you do?
I just go to him and tell him, perhaps you should shut up and not draw the storm to us.
Sounds like more crazy ramblings.
The storm has already arrived. What is it? What's a little singing gonna hurt?
It is, Gus. Well, it's gonna sound crazy, but the storm seems to be living.
As I've stated before I joined the crew, I'm cursed. The storm is following me. And now this ship is cursed.
Well, if you're that sure, why don't you jump ship?
It's too late now. The ship is cursed. Everyone will die and I'll float up somewhere on an island.
Yep, that's from his view. Everybody else dies, but he gets to live, and the ship is doomed.
It's not my time yet, it seems.
Well, perhaps you should talk to the storm, perhaps? Crazy idea, I know, but you never know.
And what do you suggest I tell the storm now?
To bugger off?
Make a persuasion roll.
Persuasion. 16.
Well, sure, but I don't really think that's gonna help. So yeah, I look out towards the center of the storm and I say, "Can you bugger off?"
You say it like really loud?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure the volume, because it is a storm and it has howling winds. So, okay. You do see something happen, but I'm gonna get you to make a perception check to see what you see specifically.
Is it black? Is it the Bloodbeard who thinks we're getting in a fight or something?
No.
Perception, did you
Roll
say?
a perception. Yeah.
24.
This time, you hear the and you see the hand extend out of the storm and point in your direction, go back in, and then reveal itself behind the storm.
See what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you mean. But what can you do at this point? It's not gonna kill me.
Well, ask it what it wants from you, because it seems to be wanting something from you.
Okay. Seeming as his last suggestion worked, I will do that. What do you want from me? I'll yell out into the storm.
Seems as though the creature doesn't speak common. But however...
Actually, I would shout it out in Aquan, because that's the language I picked. That's the language of water, like primordial.
Sure. So you understand Aquan?
Yes.
Okay, so as soon as you start shouting out in Aquan, you do hear, and everybody else hears something that sounds like less of a roar and more intentional, as if it's sounds being made from the storm. And it says, "I am your curse." And it reaches its hand out again, and then points directly at you, and then puts its hand back.
Then I'll shout back out to it. Then why don't you kill me?
You do not deserve death, but punishment. And everybody hears the loud talking, but they don't understand what's being said.
Okay, so I will change back to you. I've never tried this before, but it actually worked.
So, what's it saying?
It's gonna kill all of you and let me live.
So, why is it doing that?
To punish me.
You don't know for what or why, but apparently it thinks for some reason that you deserve to be punished.
So it's punishing you, but why would it then inadvertently punish us as well?
You don't get it, do you? I don't get to die.
Yeah, but if you're the one being punished, why punish us when we're just transporting you? Ask it that.
I mean,
you know, it's a lot harder to be the lone survivor than to die. I would have much preferred the latter.
Oh, just ask it, damn it.
Ask it what?
Well, I just told you.
I mean, sure. I don't seem very convinced. So I'll ask the storm. What's your character's name? Or no, I'll ask the storm. The first lieutenant really wants to live. Can you let him go?
And the storm, a crack of thunder and lightning just emanates. And I need Juzai to make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh boy. I said the oh.
I love how this session turned out, by the way. It's great.
13.
All right. You take 23 damage as a lightning bolt strikes you, Jazai. And it seems like you know how lightning's supposed to work. It should have hit the mast, but for some reason it was aimed at you. And then the voice emanates and says, "There is your answer."
I just flipped the storm off. Well, fuck you too.
It doesn't respond to you, it responds to him. And just says what it said, and that's it.
Yeah, I'll just let it know. Yeah, it's not gonna let any of you live. So, what do you guys want to try and do? That's basically what I'm saying.
Just wait here a moment.
Captain Bloodbeard is actually next to you guys now. So if you're looking for him, he's right there.
Yeah, sure.
Because he saw that something was happening.
Once I started yelling into the storm, yeah, I would go over too.
Yeah.
Well, I seem to be right. The storm is a creature. And he seems to be the problem.
I did warn you about it.
What's preventing us from just throwing him overboard?
Well, you could do that, but it wouldn't solve your problem.
What makes you say that? Have you tried jumping overboard before the ship crashed or whatever?
If you really think that's gonna help, sure.
Well, ask it.
Of course it won't help. It's already gonna kill you. It's...
Just ask it if it will leave us alone and stay with you if we throw you overboard.
Sure. Will you let them go if they throw me overboard?
Another lightning bolt. And Jazai and Bloodbeard both need to make dexterity saving throws.
Just as I see the light, or as the lightning happens, I just see
16.
That I told you that wasn't gonna work, but I asked what you wanted me to ask.
16 manages to dodge it completely. It is a very thin lightning bolt. It seems as though it's being directed directly where you were standing. So as long as you manage to get out of that space, you manage to avoid it. So you manage to avoid it. Let's see if Bloodbeard is afforded the same luxury.
Guys, it's getting late around here.
Yeah. No, he is not. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. So he is struck for 31 damage, and he falls to one knee, and he goes, "What is it saying?" And it says again, "This is your answer."
I already told you earlier, throwing me overboard isn't gonna help your problem. Now, if you wanna try and come up with a solution, go ahead.
Give him 7 hit points.
Okay, he has 7 more hit points. And he goes, "Well, this is your problem. Why don't you help Jazai deal with it?"
I just shrug and go back to singing.
I grab him and just jump ship to go towards where the creature was. Where it's
Okay,
coming
it is
from.
a water spout, so it will inevitably draw you towards it.
Yeah.
So, and you hear as you're sinking into the water, which is where we're going to end. You hear Bloodbeard saying, "Oh, they decided to jump ship. Just circle around. It's going to kill us anyway." And that is where we're going to leave off. So, what do you two think?
Yeah, I loved it. It was.
We're still alive, by the way.
Planning for something to happen before you reach the island, this is just it tied into his backstory, so.
What did you do to piss off a water spout?
No,